And very welcome to day two, the finals on day two, the Irish Open Swimming Championships here at the National Aquatic Centre in Dublin. John Kenny in the company of India McGlynn and former Olympian Nicholas Quinn from the Rio Games joining me in commentary on tonight's final session. We'll have to go some to see what we've had from the last couple of days transferred into tonight, with Elaine Walsh yesterday breaking the Irish record twice on 100 fly in the semis the heats I should say, and the final. And this morning, a bit of a surprise really, Tom Fannin in hit 6 of 8 in the men's 100 set a blistering 21.9 to break the Irish record. And not only break the Irish record of Barry Murphy's in 2009 in Rome, but he broke the record that was around when the shiny suits were around. So that's a credible time from Tom Fannin, 25 years of age. Now Fannin has swum for GB in the Commonwealth Games, but he's transferred to Ireland, and that has given him and Swim Ireland a boost because he's the 4th member of the team now to qualify for the World Championships in Fukuoka in Japan, and that includes the likes of Mona McSharry in that 4-person team. So a real plus from that point of view to have both Elaine Walsh and Tom Fannin from this particular meet through to that. Daniel Whiffen is already here as well, but he's already pre-qualified from the Commonwealth Games last year. So what do we got for the finals then? We got the 200 backstroke, will be a series of B's, junior and A finals. Then we got the women's 200 metres backstroke final. After that we got the 400 IM for men. Jack Casson, the 19-year-old, is the fastest qualifier into that A final. It's plenty of prelims this morning as well. 200 backstroke presentation to be done after that. Plenty of presentations as well in between the races. Then we see Mona McSharry for the second time this week. She goes in the 100 breaststroke, which is her main event, her Olympic final event indeed. She is the fastest qualifier into the A final. Then we've the blue ribbon, the men's 100 metres freestyle. Fannin actually gave up the ghost after the 50 and just swam through, so he didn't make the final, but he's in the 50 later on this week, so we may see him go even quicker on Wednesday's final, if he gets there, of course. Max McCusker is the fastest qualifier into the 100 final. Then we've got the 1500 metres freestyle. There was 3 heats this morning. It's a long session commentating on 3 heats of the 1500 freestyle. So it's heat declared winner, and we do have the final of that, the final heat of that to come before 3 50-metre butterfly sprints to round up today's programme. Nicholas was with me yesterday, India, but you were here this morning. What did you make to it all?
Yeah, so like you said, we've had some fast swims transferring over from each session, so really looking like our Irish swimmers are on form this weekend. And we've got some interesting swims now coming up. So starting off with that men's 200 metre back roll, John Short posting an incredible time of 2 minutes, so 2:00.25, 3 seconds off his PB. So he's only about half a second off that world qualification consideration time as well on that 200 metre backstroke. He did look strong and smooth, so that'll be an interesting race for us this evening. But I think the one that I'm most looking forward to is that women's 100 breaststroke this evening. Mona McSharry, she posted a 1:06 this morning in that 100 breaststroke, but she was looking really smooth and really strong. So I definitely think a 1:05 is on the cards for her final swim this evening.
Yeah, she seems to be just getting herself back to good timed swims, isn't she? Good strong swims. I know she was second yesterday in one of the finals, but it's her big race is the 100 metres breaststroke, which she made the Olympic final. 1:06. She's not hanging around there, is she?
No, absolutely not. And like I said, it was nice to see her come back into this competition and look really smooth and look really strong. It is the strongest I've seen her in a long time. So when she was posting that 1:06 this morning, she was kind of out on her own. We had Niamh Coyne in the previous heat, and we had Molly Main in the previous heat as well. So it will be an interesting race between the 3 of them. I do think Mona has that, but having that extra little bit of competition, I think she could push that 1:05 today.
So Nicholas, what's your highlights of tonight? What do you think?
Again, I know we just talked about the women's 100 breaststroke there, but I think that's going to be really exciting because aside from Mona, there's a few other girls looking to get on under 23s. Niamh Coyle will be looking at that world's time as well. But I'm also really excited for Max McCusker. He's got a busy session. He's got that 100 freestyle final, and then he's got the 50 fly final, and he's the fastest qualifier for both of them. Equally, Evan Bailey is second for both of those races, so both of those guys are doubling up with the 1500 in between. So I think that should be a good race in both of those. I also think the 200 back, we could potentially have some more qualifiers for Worlds with John Short in the men's coming up in the fastest heat, and then Maria Godden as well, both swimming in the UCL Centre in Limerick.
Well, John Short's coming up in the final, but this is the B final. And there's your list of competitors right across the pool, using 10 lengths of the pool, or 10 widths of the pool, all throughout this competition. Gives us that extra 2 lanes, which is great. It's Dominic French in 0, Matt O'Sullivan in 1, Ethan Lawrence in 2, then it's Biss, Yalnikov, Byrne, Farron, Mullen, Keane McGrath and Dara Somerville across the pool. This is the first, our B finals. All pretty decent times this morning. Yalzanov from Kilkenny, the 16-year-old, a 2:21.5. It's no slouch of a time for someone so young. You were talking about John Short, he also is 16 years of age, but some decent swims this morning from some of these swimmers, including Fionn Byrne. He also a 2:21 swimmer.
Yeah, we have the middle 5 lanes here only really separated by less than a second, so it kind of depends on how each of these swimmers is going to take out of 200. Dave and I were chatting this morning about different tactics that you can take on the 200. Like before, we had previous swimmers like Aisling Cooney and Melanie Knocker that were main competitors back in around 2008, 2009, but they both had very different tactics when it came to the 200 back. So it'll be interesting to see now how these lads take it in the final session. So whether they're going to take it out hard and try and hold on for the second 100, or whether they're going to pace it more on this final swim.
Matt O'Sullivan there in lane 1 from Trojan turning first, outside lane. The rest of the field are really, really tight on this. They'll all be looking to move on their times from this morning. As India said, it's quite tight across all 10 lanes here, but it really is Matt O'Sullivan, the Trojan swimmer, who's pulling away from the swimmers either side of him. It almost looks like it's a race between lane 1 and then on the other side of the pool in lane 8 for Keane McGrath from Coolmine. So it'll be interesting to see as they come into this last 50 who can get the touch.
I don't think they're going to get to him. I think he might have enough in hand here, but it's got to be tight, I'd say. He's gone off very strong, Matt O'Sullivan, in this, the 200 backstroke B final. Catch me if you can seems to be his motto. 143 compared to 144. There's nobody really coming out of the pack except for Keane McGrath out in lane number 8. The green cap closest to the picture, the Trojan swimmer, Matt O'Sullivan, looking for a win in the B final. Can the rest of them catch him? There are 15 metres to go in this B final. I don't think anybody's going to catch him. It's an outside smoker, really. It's foreshortened that, actually, that picture there. So it's always going to be very close, and I think he's got enough in hand. Good win for Matt O'Sullivan. Decided to take them home strong, take it out strong, 2:19.82. That's a lot quicker than this morning's heat time of 2:22. Good win, and in lane 8 as well as Keane McGrath. So it was the case of the outside lanes that the ones that brought it home there, India.
Yeah, no, it was a great swim from Matt O'Sullivan there, so he definitely just took it out in that first 100, took it out really strong. Technically, he was on point. All his turns, he was hitting them perfectly. Good, strong underwater. It's nice, you can see there with his finish, so hitting the finish dead on as well. So he really did just take it out. His pace is really good. You could see on that third 50 when he turned on that 148 that he was going to smash the time that he posted this morning. So really great swim there from Matt.
And there's your result, Matt O'Sullivan, 2:19.82. You'll be happy with that, Nicholas, I'd say. It's a big drop from this morning, see?
Yeah, anytime you take 3 seconds from your heat time to a finals over a 200 back, it's a good swim. I think his coach might have a word with him. He had a cheeky little look at the board to see what time it was with about 20 metres to go. So I'd say his coach is probably looking at that being like, keep your head down, focus on the race, get your hand on the wall, and you can look at the time as much as you want after that.
Well, that's our first race of the second day of competition done and dusted. It was a good one too. Well done, Matt O'Sullivan. Keane McGrath just couldn't get close enough to him to snatch victory away, but he took his chance early on from that outside lane 1 and held on for victory. So we're going to move on to the junior final now before the A final. Again, there's 10 swimmers involved in this, all 18 years and younger. 18 for the men and 17 for the women.
Yeah, it's great to see we have our fastest qualifier here for the junior final. He's only 15 years of age, so it's Paddy Cudahy from Kilkenny posting the fastest time of 2:18.13. So definitely has some high hopes for this swimmer in the future with the 200 back roll.
Great venue this. It's hosted some decent meets down the years. I mentioned this yesterday, 2003, the European Short Course Championships, where Andrew Bree picked up a memorable silver medal in the 200 breaststroke. And then we also had that wonderful competition here, the European Para Championships, the World European Para Championships, one of my favorite events of all time here. And 2018, wonderful venue and a great atmosphere, and we're going to be welcoming the world for the European Under-23 Championships, the inaugural one. Now, I say welcoming the world because it's open to teams and countries from outside of Europe to compete as well. So they're sending an American team as well, which would be fantastic. And if we can get the likes of David Popovici here, the big golden boy of world swimming to the under-23 championships here in Dublin. It would be really a big plus and a big fill-up for Irish swimming as well. That's in August. But this is the junior final then of the 200 metres backstroke for men. So 18 years and younger. Paddy Cudahy of Kilkenny, you mentioned. Very respectable 2:18 this morning. Let's see if he can go quicker.
Yeah, it should be interesting here in this final. These juniors getting back at these open championships, it's such a good opportunity for junior swimmers to see the senior swimmers, to see how they warm up, to see how they swim down, and to just learn and take in the experience. They'll have Irish summer championships in the summer, which they'll be their main focus for this year. But it's a really good opportunity for them now to move their times on from the heat and race in this environment, race with the big guns. They'll have the likes of Shane Ryan, not in this 200 back, but they'll have seen him yesterday in the 50 back. So a really good opportunity for these guys to move their times on and get that experience of racing at a high quality meet here in Dublin.
Yeah, like Nick says, it's a great experience, especially seeing as after COVID, a lot of these junior swimmers are probably around the 14, 15 year mark. They missed out a lot of competitions as well, so kind of that 12, 13 age group coming through. So it's nice to have them back in the pool now after that COVID break.
Once again, 10 swimmers involved in this, the junior final. Plenty of volunteers here dressed in blue. Our thanks to them. Without the volunteers, this gala would not be going ahead as smoothly as it has. Let's give you the lineup then as they hit the water. Sean Bugler, Sunday's well in zero. And it's Owen Wren of Trident, Luke Woolley, Claire Morris, Temple Oaks, Robert Mullen, Paddy Cudahy, fastest qualifier, the 15-year-old from Kilkenny, Ray O'Shea of ESB, Philip Duda Longford, Kieran Waterson of Galway, Liam Og Mathers of Bandsbridge, and then Keil Loudon of Trojan. First 50 down, O'Shea leads 50.93.
Yeah, it was a great start there, especially from Philip Duda. If you actually watch his underwater work, he came up first, but Ray O'Shea seems to be catching him slightly on the actual swim. So it's great to have the ledge now on the back roll. It's definitely a good experience for these young swimmers to be using them. But as you see, we'll have a variety of different back roll strokes here. So we've got lane number 4. He's really smooth, head position is really strong, and is picking up that stroke rate coming into the second 100 now. With Ray, he does have a little bit more of a bobbing and stroke. That's maybe why he's pulling back slightly. But on this first turn now, we have lane number 4, Paddy Cudahy, taking the lead in a 1:05.41. So good split off this morning's swim.
Strong there from Paddy Cudahy. He really took over that race in that second 50. He was the only junior in that field to show sub 35. His split for that second 50 was 34.21, and he is starting to pull away from the rest of the field. You can see he's got that really steady head position. He's got a nice turnover and is swimming a really controlled race here with just over 50 metres to go.
50 metres to go, he's led from the off. It's a very steady swim from him too. You can see that blue paint stripe below his body, and he's right on top of that. So he's picked a point at the ceiling, and he's pretty steady, but he's not letting get away from him. Is Philip Duda in lane number 6 from Longford. So this is going to be a good battle between these two. Last 25, you can see it. And coming back into the picture again is Robert Mullen. Mullen was pretty slow out for the first 150, but he's starting to come back here. But they're not going to catch Paddy Cudahy. He's trying to break that time this morning of 2:18.13. He's going to be way inside that. Good swim. 2:15.93 for Paddy Cudahy. Takes that victory. Duda in second place, and Mullen got up to take third.
Yeah, it was a fantastic swim there from the 15-year-old. So taking just over 2 seconds off that heat swim. So very respectable time for a 15-year-old to be swimming 2:15.93. And you can see technically he is a strong swimmer in that 200 back roll, because if you did take the likes of Ray O'Shea, who was posting in lane 6, I actually think at sometimes he was swimming faster than the pack, but when it came to the turns he was pulling back on quite a bit of that distance between the swimmers. So, but really good technical swim from Paddy Cudahy, 2:15.53.
Here's your 1, 2, 3, Cudahy, Duda and Mullen, which brings us nicely on to the A final. We're going to have a series of these, B, A, and squeezed in between the juniors. We've had the 1500 heats this morning for women, and they're heat declared winners, so we'll have the fastest heat on seeded times coming up just a little bit later on at about 6:45. your time if you joined us. Good to be here. John Kenny with India McGlynn and Nicholas Quinn bringing you commentary on these races. So, who's your money on here, Nicholas? It's a very young lineup for this A final. 16-year-old John Short. He's quite a considerable distance ahead of the rest of them, isn't he? But he'd be looking for a decent time that might actually get him into, I don't know, the European under-23s or perhaps the Worlds. Who knows?
Yeah, definitely. I was talking to us. So he's actually a bluefin swimmer, but he's swimming part of the week in Limerick with the National Centre down there with John Shiranic. And I was chatting to John there just before the session, and John Shiranic is coach, not John Short. And he's saying that he has a chance here of making this Worlds team. The Worlds consideration time is 1:59.2, so he's just a second off it off this morning's swim. So he's given himself a real chance there. I also think if he does that, he won't be too far away from the Irish senior record and the Irish junior record, which are both held by Conor Ferguson in 1:58.8. So I think this race really is John Short against the clock, and I'm really excited to see what he can do. It's great to see a 16-year-old leading out this field. He's a real talent for the future and definitely one to watch, but a 16-year-old with the opportunity of making a Worlds team on the male side is quite impressive, so I'm looking forward to this.
Shane Ryan and Conor Ferguson really have dominated the men's 1 and 200 backstroke over the last couple of years. I think mentally Conor Ferguson was probably the one man that could put it up to Shane Ryan in domestic competitions, and there was one memorable race here as he tried to get into the Olympic Games in Rio, where Shane was that quicker and he moved over to the lane rope and tried to drag Conor to the final, or to Rio. And I think since he didn't make that, I think Conor may have gone off the boil, but he did still hold the Irish record, which is set in 2017 of 2:58.98. But I just got the feeling, and I don't know if you agree or disagree about this one, I don't think Conor Ferguson's fulfilled the potential that he had over the last couple of years, and maybe just missing out on Rio was the reason for it. I can't say for definite that's what it was, but that's what a feeling I have.
Yeah, I think Conor definitely, Conor had an amazing potential as a swimmer, and it was nice to see Shane Ryan definitely pulling into that lane room to try and drag him along to Rio. But again, like David and I were talking about earlier, you can do all the physical preparation, nutrition on point, hydration on point, but sometimes swimming can just come down to a mental game, and if you get a couple of knocks, sometimes that's the one thing that can slightly pull you back in your swimming as well. So it's about being able to come back from those swims that you don't make, or those consideration times or those qualifying times that you don't make. So yeah, like you said, Conor might have not reached his full potential, but again, we've got some young swimmers coming through. Like we said, John Short, he's only about less than a second off that kind of world consideration time here of a 1:59.26. So he didn't really look phased after this heat swim this morning. He looked really strong, really smooth. As soon as he touched the wall, David and I commented saying, maybe try and look a little bit tired after your race there, John. So no, he looked really strong. So it'd be nice to see what he does now.
Which would suggest he's got something left in the tank. So we're going to look at that time, 1:59.26. Irish record stands 1:58.8. 16 years of age, John Short. We have 4 competitors at the World Championships thus far: Mona McSharry, Daniel Whiffen, Elaine Walsh, and Tom Fallon from this morning. And the way they go, this is the final then of the 200 backstroke. Rory Boyd in 0, Adam Barnes in 1, Nettie Irwin 2, Emma Cousins 3, Short in 4, Brandon Biss alongside him in 5, Bryden Byrne in 6 from Bangor, Mark Cormican in 7, Artem Shobot from Titans in 8, and Ben Merrigan in lane number 9 from Dolphin. And he's got off like an express train. He's already got a body length lead as they hit the 50, and at 27.91. Good start from Short, Nicholas.
Yeah, he looks really good, strong here. You see when he's swimming, his wingspan looks really long. He's not the tallest guy in the world at 16, but he looks big in the water, which is always such a good sign. And he looks really controlled through this first 100 over 200 back. You can see he's just not kicking too hard with his legs. He's going to save them for the back half of the race. And let's see what time he turns in here at the 100 metre mark.
100 mark, 58 flat. That's a good time. A split of 30.09. He's on it.
Yeah, no, he's really strong, and we knew that John Short was going to come in on form. He had a really strong short course season, and we know that his underwaters are incredible compared to the pack, but it's nice to see him transfer it over to this long course season, and we know he split nearly equal split his swim this morning, so it was I'm fairly sure it was a 58 and a 102, so it looks like he's going to pretty much do something similar now. He's just going to have to kick down hard in this last 50 metres if he wants to make that consideration time.
30.81 was the split for the 150 mark. Look at that time, 1:59.26. The noise deafening here at the NAC. Our sideline pool commentator Andrew Bree raising the roof. Can John Short go close to, well, that World Championship qualifying time, get below the 2-minute mark? Oh, it's going to be close, this one. 1:59.23. He's done it. He's going to Japan and he splashes the water in delight. He's only 16 years of age. Ireland have 5 swimmers at the World Championships this year.
Brilliant swim from the 16-year-old. 0.03 inside the consideration time for the World Championships. What a swim from a 16-year-old. A male swimmer at 16 going to a World Championships potentially is amazing. You talked about Conor Ferguson earlier. Conor Ferguson was 16 looking at that Rio Olympics, and now we have John Short going 1:59.23, 0.03 inside the consideration time, and you can see in his face there he's delighted with that. What a great swim from the bluefin swimmer based in Galway, and also training with NCL down in Limerick with John Chiranek.
Well, there's no doubt about it. He keeps going that way. He'll break that Irish record and break it by a distance too. 1:58.8 is what it stands, so he's a 1:59.2. It's only a finger now.
Literally only a fingernail. And again, I'd say we were just talking about it a second ago, talking about those kind of like mentally going into races and stuff. I'd say he's been looking at that time for the past few months, just knowing that that's the time that he's going for, and to break the time by just 0.03, he definitely has more in him. So I'd say the Irish senior record is going to be the next time that he's just going to have in his mind before the next competition, and wouldn't be surprised if he smashes that too.
Great to see the camaraderie in the pool there as well. The other competitors, very young field as well. It's making me feel very old. 16 years of age, John Short. Anyone who's born in the 2000s makes me feel old, I can tell you. Brandon Biss in second place. There was quite a distance between the front three and the rest of the field, and then Short, like he was a man on a mission there, just through to the World Championships. They have to be selected, of course, as well, but he's got the time by 3/100ths of a second, but that's enough.
That's all you need to do. You just hit that time and you give yourself a chance of being on that plane, and there's no reason now, I think, why he won't be there. And what an experience that'll be for him to go to Japan and race the best in the world at the World Championships the year out for the Olympic Games. It's really exciting, and they're the kind of swims that you love to see at a meet like this. You never know who's going to come out of the woodwork. Not that he's come out of the woodwork, he's been good for a couple of years, but I think making a world's team is taking it up to a whole other new level. So really brilliant swim from here and from him, and especially that last 50. On the third 50 I actually thought he was dropping off a little bit and he was going to be just outside it, but he was able to pick up his rate and get under that consideration time for Worlds. So he'll have a busy summer between European Juniors, under 23s and World Championships. So really exciting to see for John Short.
It was good to watch. You say he hasn't come just out of the woodwork, but of course he would swim through age groups and things like that, but now he's on the national scene, so he's starting to notice him for the very first time. John Short and Tom Fannin this morning, but he's got a different swimmer. He's 25, swam with the Commonwealth Games, experienced swimmer, transferred to Ireland, now going to the World Championships, but Short, he's up and coming.
Oh, absolutely, and it's nice for these young swimmers as well. I think as they're up and coming and they're younger in age, there's actually, I feel, a lot less pressure on them. I know that they know that they're improving. I know that their times are getting better, but the pressure that they actually put on themselves leading into these competitions is probably a lot less than a more experienced swimmer who I don't know, probably has more attention on them when it comes to these qualifying times as well.
It's a very good atmosphere here this Sunday afternoon. Plenty of other distractions going on across the country. League finals in Croke Park et al., but good atmosphere in here as well for these finals. So we're on to the 200 metres backstroke. This is the B final for women, with Michelle O'Shea in 0, Leah Jacobs in 1, Leah Connell in 2, then Sarah Keane, 14 years of age from Portmarnock, in 3. Kirsty Dunn of Asgard, the 19-year-old, is in 4. Callie Walsh, Terranure. Then we got Amy Russell in 6, Emily O'Dwyer in 7, Louisa Humphreys and Emma Marriage out in lane number 9 from the Aer Lingus Swimming Club. And they're coming up to the first turn now, the 50-metre mark, and we got a swimmer out in lane number 8, Louisa Humphreys, who's taken them through 34.15.
Yeah, again, this B final, so it's a great experience for all of these girls to get an extra swim in today, so being able to come back in the evening and go for this extra swim. So again, just like the B final in the men's race as well, it's quite a close race between all swimmers, so going from a 2:31 to a 2:33. So again, we see an outside swimmer here leading the pack, but it could change coming into the second 100 as well. It just depends on how these girls take out their race tactics today.
Yeah, it's interesting looking at their technique. I always think when you're looking at a 200 back roll, it looks like people aren't trying at all. Some of these girls can have a really low rate, but a really, really strong catch and a good feel for the water. So even though it looks like they're taking it easy, they're working very hard. And we'll see in this back 100 here that these girls will start to go to their legs to drive them home and hopefully finish. But it is Louisa Humphreys from Larne who has led from the start here, and she's still holding off the rest of the field in lane 8. So a strong swim from her through 125 metres. Let's see if she can hold on now coming into this last 50.
Yeah, she was turning there on a 1:11.72, so her actual qualifying time into this is 2:33. So I'd say if she can maintain this pace, she'll be smashing her heat time. Because so coming into this last turn, I think she's splitting on about a 38.69. So she's going to have to kick down hard on this last 50 if she wants to break that time.
That's been a feature of the B finals we've seen so far. The outside lanes have dominated so far, and it's happening again. It's just that head, not quite static in the water, just dips below the line every so often as she drops that right hand shoulder, but it's effective. And Louisa Humphreys out in lane number 8 is showing the rest of the field a clean pair of heels. Catch me if you can, and they won't. She's a long distance ahead of the rest of the field. She came in a 2:33 this morning, way inside that, 4 seconds plus. Louisa Humphreys set out her stall early out in lane number 8, and the rest couldn't catch her. Kirsty Dunn in second place, and then Amy Russell in third. That's a good swim and a good drop off too.
Yeah, it was a great swim there from Louisa. So again, she came in on a time of 2:33.43. So to drop it to 2:29, it's always a big barrier for these young swimmers to kind of break that 2:30 mark as well for the 200 metre backstroke. But like you said, she took it out strong. I'd say if you watch it on the screen there, definitely looked like she was tying up kind of on the last 5 strokes or so. But again, that was her race tactic: take it out strong and kind of just hold on for the second 100. So really strong swim there from Louisa.
She really paced that race well. Her 350s, second, third and fourth 50s were all 38 points. The other girls dropped down to 38 on the last 50, but they were 39s, 40s otherwise. So really, really well-paced event. And I think backroll, 200 backroll is one of those events that pacing is so important. It's probably one of the only events that you can actually kind of negative split it, because you don't get the same benefit of the dive of the start. So you can actually go out and then come back in the same time again. It's not easy to do, but it's probably one of the only events where it's more doable. But that was a really, really well split race there. 350s swimming 38s for all of them is strong swimming, and a good drop off for heats to finals.
Well done to her, winner of the B finals. And moving on now to day 2 and event 2 and the junior final of the women's 200 metres backstroke. A finals pretty stacked. Lottie Cullen, Maria Godden and Danielle Hill. Danielle Hill's already picked up a gold medal in the 50 free yesterday, but here come the competitors then for the junior final, 17 years and younger. Got a good spread from 15 years of age up to 17. 4 lengths of the pool on day 2. Fastest qualifier from the city of Derry on a 2:28.65 this morning is Maeve McLean, 16-year-old in lane 4.
Yeah, I remember Maeve from this morning actually. She was looking really strong. She definitely dropped off a good bit off her PB this morning as well. So again, it's just about kind of coming into these finals, especially for the juniors, just to make sure that you don't tense up, you don't tie up. It's just a second swim for them, second opportunity to improve on their personal best. So as long as they stay like cool, calm, collected, they know exactly what they're doing, they stick with their pacing, that we should look for some fast times here in this junior final.
Yeah, it should be a good race. You got 2 new Ross swimmers in lanes 5 and 6. You got Eva Bailey and then Leah Bailey. So they will know each other really well. It's about, we were speaking yesterday, John, about putting the blinkers on and focus on your own race, especially when you know someone that well. You train with them day in, day out. It can sometimes help or it can hinder. I know for myself, whenever I raced teammates, I always just focus on what I was doing, forget about them, and do your own thing and race as hard as you can. So that's what these girls will be doing here in the junior final and looking to improve their times from the heats.
Away they go then for the junior final, 200 backstroke for women. Abigail Minto of Temple Oak alongside her teammate Holly McInerney. Then we got Paige Austin Burrows of Larne, swimming in a very dark and amber swimsuit. I suppose Kilkenny's club might have a look at maybe using that as theirs, because it's very much their Kilkenny colours. Anyway, she's from Larne in lane 2. Then it's Katie Kelly of Shark in 3. Celia Derry's Maeve McLean in 4. New Ross Eva Bailey in 5. Leah Bailey of New Ross, sister alongside her older sister. Then it's Ciara Marr of Terranure, the 17-year-old. Brina Chamberlain of Cookstown in lane number 8. And for Dolphin, it's Shauna Murphy in lane number 9. They've gone past the 50-metre mark.
Yeah, Leah Bailey's just taken it out strong there in a 33.63. She's looking really comfortable in the water here. So again, she's coming in on a time of 2:30.25. We do have a few swimmers that have broken that 30 mark already from the heat swim, so going down to 2:28. But if she can kind of maintain this pace, she used her underwater as well on that first 50. So they're going to be looking to turn on at least a 109 or a 110 if they want to break that heat swim this morning. And yeah, we have a 110 there from Leah Bailey. So strong first half of the swim.
Yeah, Leah Bailey still in the lead, but Katie Kelly is also pushing her hard. The Shark swimmer has had a really strong second 50 there, and it looks like both of these two girls are pulling away from the rest of the field. Leah Bailey still has a slight lead over Katie Kelly, but it's between those two girls in lane 6 and lane 3 at the minute as they approach 50 metres to go.
Leah Bailey, the 17-year-old, her boast today might that she beat the sister, the younger sister. Eva Bailey is in lane number 5. They turn now with 50 metres to swim. Leah Bailey leads. Sister Eva's in 3rd place, and squeezed in between is Katie Kelly from Shark in lane number 2. But I don't think they're going to catch her. She's a long way ahead.
Yeah, Leah Bailey's really she's taken this swim out really, really strong. She's worked on those underwaters, as you can see, and she's really starting to pick up this stroke rate coming into the last 25. Definitely looks like she has a lot left in the tank, especially on a 200-metre back roll, but she's finishing in strong as long as she can hit that wall perfectly. She's definitely going to be passing out this time of 2:30.25, and she's going to smash it, 2:22.70. Fantastic swim for the New Ross swimmer.
That's a really good time. 2:21, Leah Bailey, as she cruised through this morning to the final in a 2:30. Probably knew that she'd get to the final, but at 2:22, they would have put her in the A final this morning. 2:22.7, but 2:26 for Katie Kelly, and then second of the Bailey sisters in 3rd. So gold and bronze for New Ross Swimming Club there.
Brilliant swim there from Leah Bailey. She split that 110, 112, which is really, really strong splits for a 200 back. She dropped from a 37 to a 35 on that last 50, so she had paced the race really, really well. Even though she took it out hard from the start, she knew she had enough left to go to her legs, increase the rate in the last 50, and completely pull away from the field. As you said, John, that time would have put her into the A final pretty handily this morning, so she'll definitely be pleased with that, and a strong swim from both New Ross swimmers there, coming 1st and 3rd in that final split, with Katie Kelly from Shark in 2nd place.
Definitely, I think that's probably given her a bit of a confidence boost as well. I've never seen someone be able to finish a 200 back roll so strong, to be honest, with such a high stroke rate. So definitely feel like, well, she probably feels like that she can smash that time at 2:22.7 as well. So good swim from a junior swimmer anyway, 17-year-old from New Ross.
Yeah, well, you might have made the final, but you might not have been on the podium. So, I mean, that's a medal, isn't it? So
exactly.
Let's look about it that way, and you're still only 17 years of age, so that'll come. Anyway, here we are, the senior finalists, the lanes 0 down to 9. Your list of these finalists: Danielle Hill, Olympian from Tokyo, won the 50 free. Maria Godden alongside her. In the top 2, you'd think, in this race?
Yeah, I think we have a clear winner in this race. I know we've got Danielle Hill, and she's a very strong swimmer, but Maria Godden, she was looking fantastic in the swim this morning, so 2:13.08. But I also have to mention Lottie Cullen of Swim Belfast. She's also posting a 2:17.94, so similar to Danielle Hill. Now, Danielle Hill definitely looked like she was cruising a little bit, but Lottie definitely made a massive PB actually this morning to make herself 3rd into this race, so it'll be interesting to see what the Belfast swimmer can do as well.
I actually think we could have a race tonight, India. I think Danielle's going to drop from this morning. I think she's going to give a good go at pushing Maria. I think she'll try and sit with her for 150 and then see what's in the tank for the last 50. But I'm really excited for this race. I think Maria has a really good shot at making that world's time. She was a PB this morning to go 2:13.0. She's been swimming really well.
So what's that consideration time again, sorry?
2:12.
2:12, yeah.
2:12.7, so she was just off it this morning. She's got a good chance of making that tonight if she could. Sorry, it's 2:12.3. So if she can drop 0.7 from this morning, which is definitely doable. She looks strong. If she gets in a race with Danielle Hill and they both push each other, I think they can be thereabouts. So it should be an exciting race, and this is one of the ones that I'm looking forward to watching today, so it should be good.
Well, I tell you, it'll be something else if Maria Godden can sneak into under the consideration time for the Worlds. It just shows you how Irish swimming is progressing at a rate of knots. Shane Ryan's back with us as well, we know that. He came back after his shoulder injury, won yesterday. A gold medal in the backstroke event, so it's good to see him. So he'll be joined by, well, it's a growing list of swimmers now who've qualified for not only the Worlds but the European under-23s as well. There's 7 national teams to be filled over the course of this meet as well. So it's a lot to be gained here, isn't it, from these Irish swimmers to swim well from these finals.
Oh, absolutely. As you said, John, we have so many extra swimmers now being added into our summer list of events. So we've got the European under-23s, we've got the European juniors and the World Championships. And just from, this is only our 4th session of a 5-day meet, we've already seen so many more qualifiers reaching those qualifying times. So, you know, we've got a few more swims this evening that I'm looking forward to, but we have another 3 days. So I'd say this list is just going to continue to grow.
Yeah, it should be an exciting summer for Irish swimming between, as you mentioned, EYOF, European Juniors, European Under-23s, which I think is going to be an amazing experience. I actually wish I was still swimming at Under-23, although that's probably a while ago at this stage. I'd love to race at a major international competition on home soil, something I never did, but jealous of the swimmers who are going to get to do that, have that opportunity. So it's really good, and then obviously Worlds is the pinnacle that everyone is looking to try and get a seat on that plane and race against the best in the world.
You're an Olympian, Nick. Nobody can take that away from you. So whatever you may feel, but it's good to see swimmers are coming through, that we're not just standing still and relying on times from years gone by. We're moving on, and we're getting quicker and quicker in the water and moving on to the world stage, which is brilliant. And we've got 2 already today who've made consideration times for the Worlds. Can we get a 3rd one here from the race, which is the 200 backstroke final for women, and away they go. Antonio Seck of Sunday's Well, the 16-year-old, is in 0. Then it's Beth Nolan, her teammate, the 21-year-old, in 1. Aoife Doran in 2. Swim Belfast, Lottie Cullen in 3. Then Godden, Hill, Rooney, Cora Rooney and Enniskillen. Then it's Jenna McDougald, Niamh Putney and Mia Mulholland, the 15-year-old from Banbridge. Up to the top of the pool they go, and it is going to be the first 50, 4 lengths of the pool. There's 200 backstroke, and it's Hill who leads. Is taking the early lead there. Hill, the Olympian, 31.21. Maria Godden, 31.48. This is the first part of the race. Is the 50, the 100, and this is the opening part of the race. The back end is the second 100, and Hill has now been passed by Godden.
Yeah, like Nick said, it is going to be a fast race here between Maria Godden and Danielle Hill. So we kind of saw in that first 50 that Danielle Hill's stroke rate was a little bit higher than Maria Godden. Maria Godden looks very smooth, very controlled in the water, but as you can see here from her next turn, she really attacks these underwaters. She's extremely strong on these underwaters when it comes to a back roll event. She's probably going a good body length ahead on each single turn, so looks like Maria's got a lead, and she just needs to hold it now for the second 100.
Yeah, Maria turning in a 104.9 is a little bit slower than she was this morning, but that last 50 this morning she died off a little bit. She was 34.9 in the last 50, so if she's paced this race a little bit better, she could be in with a real chance here. It'll be interesting to see what time she turns at 150 and what she'll have to do in this last 50 to go 2:12.3, which is the qualifying consideration time for Worlds.
A really high turnover right there as well, and a nice underwater kick off the wall there as well, gives her an extra little impetus. That was a 32-second split compared to a 33 the previous one, so she's keeping it going nicely. Really nice shot there. She passes the 25 metres to go mark with that really still head and turns over really quickly. Danielle Hill's been passed, but this is all about the time of 2:12.3. Can she get close to that? Well, she's not going to be far off at 8, 9, 10, just outside or inside. 2:12.61. Oh, just outside that world consideration time. Quicker than her heat this morning. And at 34, that would have hurt the last time because she did a 33, 32, and then it just dropped by a couple of seconds, and that's the reason why she didn't make it. But a good swim, if a little bit disappointed about not making the World Championship team.
Yeah, that was a really strong swim. Like, we'll be disappointed that she didn't make that world's consideration time, but that's another PB. That's the first time she's sub 2:13. She really pushed that third 50. 32.7 is a fast third 50 split. But as you said, John, hurt a little bit on the last 50. 34.9, that's a 2-second drop off from third to fourth 50, and that's something that she'll go away and work on for the summer. That'll be a consideration time for the under 23 championships. So even if she's not on the plane to Japan, she will have a major international this summer, and will be exciting to watch and see if she can bring that time down further and put her in a position to potentially qualify for the Paris Olympics next year.
Sorry, Nick, there's a result. Maria Godden takes, it's not a junior record, she's 21, so she takes the win, and Danielle Hill has to be happy with third place. Just going to leave you for a few minutes and hand you over to India and to Nicholas to take us through the next event, which is the 400 metres individual medley, which is the B final for women. The A final will follow that. It's for men, of course, it's for men.
Yeah, we've got the the B final up first for this men's 400 IM. There's only 2 finals for this. We don't have a junior final. We just have a B final and a junior final, or a B final and an A final. So it should be a good race. I always think 400 IM is a really exciting race to watch, India, because it's so tactical. You see the different strengths of the different athletes come to the fore. Some of them might be back row specialists, some of them might be breaststroke specialists, and you can really see the lead change very quickly and very dramatically in a 400 IM. So I always think this is an exciting race to watch. What do you think, India?
Absolutely, 400 IM is a grueling race, isn't it, Nick? Like it's a difficult one to swim, but you can see that from this morning swim, like you said, there's different tactics that you can take on a 400 metre IM. Dave and I were chatting about it. It's usually those that can really push that 100 metre breaststroke as a third leg that are really good. Like if they can technically swim a 100 breaststroke quite well, they'll be able to turn onto that 100 freestyle and probably maintain that pace and really power down onto the last 100. So I say a lot of these swimmers are probably focused on their own specialist stroke, but also really focusing on that 100 metre breaststroke as well. So it'll be interesting to see how this B final takes it. But we do have an interesting race in the A final as well. We've got Liam Custer, Jack Casson and Caden McCarthy in those 3 middle lanes. Jack Casson being the winner of our 200 metre fly last night, so we know that he's on form this event as well.
Yeah, definitely that A final should be exciting. Jack Casson's on form, as you said. That 200 fly going sub 2 minutes last night, and a 4:31. Also racing against Liam Custer, who's actually the Irish junior record holder in the 400 IM. He set that at this competition this time last year, so he'll be looking to race against Jack. And then you've also got Caden McCarthy, who I think was taking a little bit handy this morning in that 400 IM. So I'd expect those 3 boys to drop their times considerably into the finals tonight, and it should be a good race. But first up, we have this B final, and again, as you said, it'll be interesting to see the different strengths of the athletes come to the fore as they race through this 400 IM, which is a grueling event.
Yeah, so we have our B final entering the water now. So just to run down through the list of names. So we have Thomas Price, 16-year-old from Lisburn City. He is racing in lane 0. Aina Garvey in lane 1 from Mallow Swans. We've got Ricky Fain in lane number 2 from Dolphin. Darragh Horgan in lane 3 from Limerick. We've got Daniel Edgar in lane 4. He's our fastest qualifier into this B final with a 4:50.98. He's from Lisburn City. We've got Phelim Hanley of Blackrock in lane 5. Alex Barrett in lane number 6, also from Blackrock, so the 2 teammates swimming side by side. We've got Killian Langton of Sligo in lane 7, Cormac Farron of Bangor in lane 8, and Ben Wilson of Ards in lane number 9.
And straight away we can see Daniel Edgar, the Lisburn swimmer, is taking this out hard. He's entered on a 4:59.8, which is actually 6 seconds quicker than Phelim Hanley, the Blackrock swimmer. So expect Daniel to be out in front maybe at the start of this race and look to hold on as we go through. But a really strong start from that fly. But as we said, the lead can change very quickly, very dramatically in a 400 IM. So let's see how his back roll is as he turns through this 200 metres.
Absolutely, it's about staying relaxed, I guess, in the 400 IM. There's no point in pushing yourself too hard on a fly event. Fly is definitely one event where you can deplete a lot of your oxygen within that first 400. So he looked strong in that first 100, kind of breathing every one. Very Michael Phelps-esque stroke there coming from the leader of the pack. But again, like you said, Nick, it's really going to focus on this middle 200, how they can hold on in the 100 back roll, and then how they can really power through in the 100 breaststroke as well.
Yeah, definitely. I used to do, when I was a junior, I used to swim a bit of 400 IM, and I'd always know by the time I got to the first 100 metres how the 400 IM was going. If I was hurting by the time I was turning, I knew it was a long race to go. So you want to be hitting that wall and still feel in control and comfortable after the fly, and then start to build to this back roll and breaststroke legs.
Absolutely. Dave and I were chatting about it earlier actually, and when I was a junior as well, I used to swim a 400 IM, but Dave McCullough events, they used to always organise the 400 IM and the 200 fly on the same day, so I was absolutely shattered by the end of that day. So I know exactly how these swimmers are feeling, finishing off a 400 IM for the second time today.
Yeah, and I like that. I also remember we used to have the semi-finals at this competition, so you'd have semi-finals in the hundreds, and I used to have the semi-final of the 100 breaststroke and a 400 IM final in the same session, which was not a nice double. Doing two 400 IMs in a day on its own is pretty tough, never mind adding in an extra event, so I feel the pain of these boys, but Daniel Edgar from Lisbon really is still pulling away from the field after that back roll. He has about a 4 metre lead on Alex Barrett from Blackrock, Phil Hanley from Blackrock, and Dara Horgan from Limerick, so he's having a really strong race with about 125 metres to go.
Absolutely, he's powering through on this breaststroke. As you can see, he has a very tight breaststroke. He's really getting a good drive on each stroke. This is definitely where the lactic acid is going to kick into the legs, but as long as he can stay powerful, he can stay long with that stroke, he can catch as much distance per stroke as he can, and he can maintain this lead. I think we have our clear winner here for the B final of the 400 IM.
Yeah, definitely. It's interesting. A lot of the time, the 400 IM swimmers look to even split or negative split each stroke. So you can see Daniel Edgar there split that 50. The first 50 was 100 breaststroke in a 44.1. So let's see if he can go a little bit quicker than that in this second 50. But really, the Limerick swimmer Dara Horgan is making up ground on him here in this second 50 of the breaststroke. So you can obviously see Dara is a strong breaststroke swimmer, and he's actually really making up ground on Daniel Edgar. It's going to set up for a really fast and good race in this last 100 metres.
Absolutely, we have this lovely spearhead formation forming here for coming onto the last 100 of this 400 metre IM B final. So again, we still have lane 4 taking the lead, but we've got two swimmers either side of him really catching some ground now. So it's just about who's going to be able to hold on. Lane number 3 already gaining some distance here on this 100 front crawl. So that is Dara Horgan of Limerick City. Looks like he could really kick down into this last 75 metres. Yeah,
on that last 50 of the breaststroke there, Dara Horgan picked up 3 seconds on Daniel Edgar. Daniel Edgar was a 44.4, with Dara Horgan was a 41 points. That's a big difference in 150. But it looks like Daniel Edgar is probably has done enough and will do enough on this last 50, coming into the last 50 freestyle here to take the win in this 400 IM B final.
Absolutely, Daniel unfortunately is turning to the wrong side of his main competitor here, but hopefully he can maintain that lead. We have a slight advantage for Dara Horgan. He is looking at Daniel as he's swimming, but I think we have our clear winner as long as he can just really kick down into this last 25. He's looking strong. That leg kick behind him is still going well, and he's starting to pick up that stroke rate coming into the last 10 metres of this event. Again, his qualifying time of 4:50.98. I think it's going to be outside that time, and he is 4:51.69, but again, fantastic swim, especially swimming it for the second time today.
Yeah, that was a strong swim. Swim 4:50 and then swim back it up with a 4:51 straight away, like in the final session, is two really strong 400 IM swims. And the two boys either side of him, Dara Horgan and Phil Hanley, improved their times from this morning's heat. So really strong swimming from those 3 boys there, and I'm sure they'll be pretty happy with how they swam. Really do see the differences in the strokes there. Dara Horgan and Philip Hanley both made big inroads on Daniel Edgar on the breaststroke, but he had done enough over the first 200 metres and had enough left for the freestyle to hold on and take the win there in that B final.
Absolutely, and a lot of the time it's about gaining that experience as well. So I know they've had to swim 2 400 IMs in the one day, but a lot of these swimmers, like, not that it would be their first maybe Irish Open Championships, but again, being able to come back kind of after this COVID time and get back into a full stadium, full crowd here at the NAC, getting that atmosphere again, just really actually getting back to enjoy racing as well. So getting into a 400 IM, it's nice that they have this atmosphere to build behind them as well as they go for that second swim.
Yeah, absolutely. I was actually, when I was driving over here for the final session this evening, it's the first time in a long time I was like, geez, I wouldn't actually mind racing actually. Like that feeling of coming to the pool, a bit of nerves, a bit of excitement. It's hard to replace that after you retire, but it's a great opportunity, as you said, for these junior swimmers especially to come back and race in a big environment after a very tough couple of years, to come in and race with such a good atmosphere. There's a very good atmosphere in the pool here this evening. So it's just exciting. It's exciting to see. It's exciting to watch, and Swim Ireland and Irish swimming's in a good place, so bodes well for the summer.
No, absolutely, yeah. And David and I were actually chatting about this morning, the fact that we're going to miss this atmosphere and miss racing here in the National Aquatic Centre. We do have a great facility here in Dublin, and amazing that we can have the facility to hold that European under-23s this summer as well. So definitely wouldn't be able to swim the events that I used to, but maybe getting back in a swimming 50 fly might be interesting. But I'm not promising anything, not guaranteeing anything here.
Yeah, I think despite my best efforts, I could never really improve my sprinting. 200 breaststroke was definitely where my forte was at, and I realised very quickly that I needed to do a lot of work to be any decent at 200 breaststroke. So I think if I was to dive in and do a 50 breaststroke right now, it would be not pretty by any standards.
No, I think it probably should be a charity swim for us, not getting back to Irish Open or anything like that. But be interesting to get back in. Maybe you, me, and Dave can have a race one day.
Yeah,
never know.
I think now Dave, I think he's a naturally fast and naturally explosive. So I think my money would be on him at that stage.
But anyway, we're moving on to this A final here of the 400 metre IM. So again, we've spoken about it before. We have Jack Cassin in lane number 4, our fastest qualifier. Again, we know he's on form. He swam the 200 metre fly last night, winning that comfortably, looking really strong. Going below that 2-minute mark as well for the 200 fly yesterday. So coming close enough, not breaking it anytime soon maybe, but coming probably the first person close enough to that Brendan Highland record, the Irish senior record.
Yeah, definitely. We had Paddy Johnson a few years ago was swimming fast in that 200 fly. He was 158 maybe, but it's really good to see Jack Cassin. He's just joined the National Centre in Limerick, and he's been training really well. I was chatting to John today, and he's been really working hard this year, and it's obviously paid off, going sub 2 minutes in that 200 fly, and I think he could post a really strong time here in this 400 IM. It's actually quite interesting. Liam and Jack were going back and forth last year with the 400 IM junior record, and they're both now in the senior ranks, so they'll be looking to race each other. And then Caden McCarthy has been in the 400 IM and the 200 IM ranks for quite a while now. He's a real out-and-out IM specialist. He has no weaknesses across his 4 strokes. He's just consistent across all of them. Whereas we know Jack and Liam, they were both in that 200 fly last night. They're both strong freestyle, and then they're back in their breasts. Liam is probably a bit stronger on the back. Jack's probably a bit stronger on the breaststroke. So should be a really interesting tactical race here. But I think Jack Hassan and Caden McCarthy are probably the ones to watch and have a good race, because they're also training with each other down in National Centre Limerick. So training partners, and now they're going to be racing each other. So there'll be bragging rights on the line as well as an Irish title.
Absolutely. It's nice to have that kind of friendly competition between the two of them, and having that competition that they can pull each other along. So again, our fastest qualifier, Jack, coming in on a 4:31.44. So our Irish senior record is held by Killian Melly back in 2021 of a 4:23.22. So he'd have to do a considerable swim now this evening if he wants to get anywhere close to that Irish senior record. But again, we know he's on form, and again, like we said before, 400 IM, it could be surprising. It just depends on how they take out the swim. We know Jack is going to have a strong 100 fly, probably doesn't have to expend that much energy in that first 100 metres. Again, he's kind of breathing every stroke, keeping that oxygen high as he turns onto the back row. So it's going to be that last 300 that we'll see where if Jack is going to get anywhere close to any of these qualifying times or senior records.
I think actually that's a good shout, that senior record there, 4:23 India. I think that could be potentially under threat here in this 400 IM. We know he's on form. He's a good 400 IM swimmer. His PB is a 4:26, so if he can drop a little bit from that, I think he could be in and around that Irish record for Killian Melly's Irish record, which would be great to see.
Absolutely. So just running quickly down through the list of names here in our A final in the men's 400 metre IM. So we have Cormac Donnellan of Glenalbin in lane 0, Adam Wilson of Banbridge in lane 1, Lachlan Reid of Bangor in lane 2. We've got Liam Custer from Sunday as well in lane 3. Again, Jack Cassin, our fastest qualifier from Dolphin, in a 4:31.44. He swims in lane 4. Caden McCarthy of Mallow Swans in lane 5. We've got Ronan Kilcoyne from Sligo in lane 6. We've got Ronan Fahy of Trojan in lane 7, Ben Moran of Aer Lingus in 8, and Cormac Rinn of Trident in lane number 9.
Yeah, Jack looks really strong, unsurprisingly, on this fly leg. We know his fly pedigree. He's breathing every one. He looks nice and relaxed. Hips coming up nice and high on every stroke, but he looks really strong and in control through this first 100.
I do really like Jack's fly technique as well. So he's clearly very strong on the shoulders, that he doesn't have to lead with that baby finger. He can come up quite high but gain a lot of ground on each stroke. So again, this that first 100 looked nice and controlled and relaxed, turning on a 58.20. So let's see what he can do on this 100 back roll as well.
Yeah, that's 2 seconds ahead of the field there. The only man to be sub 60 seconds for that fly leg, and he looks really strong here. He looks really in control of this race, and we mentioned about that Irish senior record. I do think that could be under threat here from Jack Cassin in lane 4.
Again, like John was saying earlier, it's nice to see these records being broken as well. It really shows that Irish swimming is progressing year on year. So yeah, hopefully Jack can get close to this record. But again, he's looking strong, he's looking comfortable, he's well ahead of the field. So I think he knows that he's dominating this race in this A final of the 400 IM. So he's pretty much swimming his own race now at this point. So as long as he can stay controlled, he can stay relaxed, but still going with that speed and that stroke rate, especially like you said earlier, Nick, most of these swimmers are going to look to negative split their 100s on their 400 IM. So trying to take it out a bit more relaxed in that first 50 and then really hammer down in the second 50. So let's have a look at this breaststroke leg as well.
So that's Jack turning at 2:05.99 ahead of Caden McCarthy in second place, 2:09, with Liam Custer, the Sunday Wells swimmer who's based in Stanford in the US, turning third in the 2:10.9. So let's have a look at their breaststroke technique here now. Jack looks strong here. I'd like to see his hips a little bit higher on this, but he's looked strong. I think Caden is probably going to make a little bit of inroads trying to catch him on this breaststroke leg, but Jack looks strong and is holding this together quite well. And I think this could be a really strong time here from the swimmer from National Centre Limerick.
Yeah, we've got this lovely, again, spearhead formation coming into the last 150 metres of this 400 IM. But again, Jack Hassan just looking really strong. He looks like he is going to hopefully stay ahead of the pack here for coming into the last 25 metres of his breaststroke leg. But it does look like Caden is catching a good bit of ground on him here. So let's see how it turns on this last 100 metres as well.
Yeah, Caden took a full second out of Jack's lead on that first 50 of the breaststroke leg, and it looks like he's going to do the same on this second leg. Jack has picked up his breaststroke rate here, but it looks like he's slipping a little bit at the front of his stroke, which I'd like to see him hold on to a bit more water, but he's still going to turn in first here as they go on to the freestyle leg. And Jack is a really strong freestyler, so I think he's probably done enough to win this race, unless Caden has something special on this last 100.
Yeah, I think we have two clear competitors here at the front. So we've got Jack and we've got Caden. Again, like you said, Jack Hassan's got a really strong 100 front crawl leg, so he looks like he's pulling away again from Caden McCarthy here. So we're going to see again that senior record time of 4:23.22 set by Cillian Melly back in 2021. He's going to have to turn now quite strong on. He's going to have to be going sub 30, yeah, hopefully for this last 50 metres. He might actually get this Irish senior record. Just really needs to kick down in this last 25. What do you think, Nick?
Yeah, we're on. It was a 30.00 there. So I think if he can, as you said, negative split this 100 freestyle, he's going to be right thereabouts. He could go 4:22, and he could be there on that consideration time for...
He's looking strong. He could do it. We've got about 5 seconds for him to get into the wall. And
yes.
just...
Brilliant.
Brilliant swim there from Jack Hassan. So coming under the Irish senior record time. You can hear Andrew Bree in the background there giving it socks. But amazing swim from Jack Hassan. He knew exactly what he had to do. He went out, again, looking a little bit more tired than he did this morning. He definitely cruised that 400 metre IM this morning. He was just like our other swimmers, kind of hopping out as if he didn't phase him. But yeah, that one looked like it hurt a little bit more.
That's a really brilliant swim. That's Irish senior record 4:22.6, also under the consideration time for the European Under-23 Championships. So that's 2 titles in 2 days, a consideration time for the European 23s, and also an Irish senior record. We know that Jack Hassan is definitely in form, and a really brilliant swim from him there, so I'm sure he'll be delighted. National Centre Limerick off to a flying start with John Shores in the 200 back making the world's consideration time. Maria Godden making the European Under-23s consideration time, and now Jack Hassan taking an Irish senior record and a European Under-23s consideration time. Really strong racing from NCL in the start of this day 2 final session at the Irish Open.
Yeah, we knew he was on form coming into this event as well, that 400 IM. Like I said, kind of watched his 400 IM swim this morning, and when he finished it didn't look like he had swam anything, so we knew he was definitely going to produce something spectacular this evening, but didn't know it was going to be that spectacular, going to go break that Irish senior record that Cillian Melly set back in 2021. So really good, strong swim from Jack Hassan. I'd say he has a busy schedule for the rest of the weekend, but looks like he's on form. Looks like he's going to be smashing records left, right and centre soon enough.
Yeah, brilliant. And actually you might have to call out Caden McCarthy there. He went 4:27, which is a 10-second drop from this morning. I did think he had more left in the tank after watching his race this morning, and he certainly proved that there. A really strong breaststroke split. It looked like he might challenge Jack at that point, but Jack had enough on the freestyle. He's also got a really strong freestyle pedigree, and that showed on that last 50. On the last 100 he was sub 60 on that freestyle leg, which is finishing a 400 IM in 59 seconds is no mean feat. So great swimming there from Jack Casson and Caden McCarthy, the two swimmers based out of the National Centre in Limerick.
Yeah, so we're going to be moving on now, folks. We're going to have presentations for the men's and women's 200 metre backstroke coming up. So again, we have our junior finalists and our senior finalists collecting their medals on the podium.
So these are our medalists, junior medalists for the men's 200 metre backstroke. Medals will be presented by Mary Hawkney, Swim Ireland President, and Patricia Cleary is aiding us as ever. So bronze junior medal to Bryden Byrne from Bangor Swimming Club. Congratulations, Bryden. Silver medal to Brandon Biss from Swim Belfast. Thank you, Brandon. And a junior gold medal to John Short from National Centre Limerick and Bluefin. These are our junior medalists of the men's 200 backstroke. Mary Hawkney, Swim Ireland President, is our presenter this evening. Thank you, gentlemen. If you could just clear the podium after your photographs, but don't go too far. Okay, so we're now going to bring on our senior medalists for the men's 200 backstroke. You might recognise these faces. Thank you, gentlemen. Mary Hawkney is going to also present our senior medals. A senior bronze medal also now to Bryden Byrne from Bangor Swimming Club. Thank you, Bryden. Well done. Brandon Biss from Swim Belfast, silver medal. Congratulations, Brandon. And 2023 Irish champion. 200 metre backstroke is John Short from National Centre Limerick and Bluefin. Congratulations, all three of you.
Same picture, yeah.
Boys, well done. Congratulations. Do we have our ladies? We are looking for the junior medalists Mia Mulholland, Antonina Seck and Aoife Doran. Thank you, ladies. So these are our junior medalists for the women's 200 metre backstroke. Okay, so here are junior medalists for the women's 200 metre backstroke. Patricia Cleary is helping Mary Hawkney deliver the medals here, Swim Ireland President. So a bronze medal to Mia Mulholland from Banbridge. Congratulations, Mia. Silver junior medal to Antonina Seck from Sundays Well. Well done, Antonina. And junior gold medal from Aer Lingus. This is Aoife Doran. Congratulations, all three of you. Okay, so we're now going to present the senior medals. Okay, so Patricia Cleary delivering the medals now to Swim Ireland President Mary Hawkney. A bronze medal to Danielle Hill from Larne Swimming Club. Congratulations, Danielle. Silver medal to Lottie Cullen of Swim Belfast. Thank you, Lottie. And 2023 Irish champion in 200 metre backstroke ladies is Maria Godden, National Centre Limerick, Kilkenny. Congratulations, all three of you. Thank you to Mary Hawkney. Thank you, ladies. We'll resume the action.
Thanks to India and also to Nicholas for taking us through the 400 metres individual medley. And decent race, different final. And now we're going to move it on to the 100 backstroke for women with the Irish senior record holder, the Irish junior record holder, the meet record holder, the Irish Olympic finalist in Mona McSherry. Already competed here in the 50 free where she took the silver medal behind Danielle Hill. But we will have a B junior and a final to come. But expectations here, India and Nicholas, about what we can see what Mona can do, because Mona's already qualified for the Worlds and she's on the team. Pre-consideration time's already done for her. So what will she be looking at here? Now she's obviously gone in a very strong 106 this morning. I mean, it's 106.49. That's only 0.2 of a second off the Irish record, her own Irish record.
Yeah, no, she was looking extremely strong in her swim this morning, looking really smooth, looking really comfortable, which is nice to see coming from Mona as well. I think the 105 is definitely on the cards for her today. But like she knows herself, she's going to be walking out into this A final. She knows that she dominates the field, so there's not going to be any pressure on her technically. So if she is going for the Irish senior record, it's basically just focus on her own race, focus on her own swim. And yeah, I can see it happening tonight. I can see it on the cards.
105 is a world-class time if she's going to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. 106.2, which is the Irish senior record, is what she did in Tokyo, and that was a world-class time. She did that at Olympic Games in Olympic final. You move that on to a 105 and all of a sudden you're right up there with the best in the world. And I think she really can do it. I was watching her race this morning and I actually watched it back in between again. 17 strokes in the first 50. So efficient. Like Mona could swim at a high tempo, high rate, but she didn't need to do that this morning. She was 17 strokes. She was really efficient. She's catching so much water and she's so powerful that I really think 105 could be on the cards, and it's really exciting. She's in good form. She's off the back of NCAA's where she picked up a silver in that 100 breaststroke short course yards. She's swimming well. She's held on to her taper, and really exciting to see what she can do in this 100 breaststroke final.
All right, well, that's to come shortly. So this is the B final. Used to be known as the consolation finals at one stage. Well, this is the B final then of the 100 metres breaststroke. Away they go. It's Jessica Purcell in 0, Megan Diamond in 1, Ellie Dunlop in 2, Jane Ryan in 3, Kellyanne Brown in 4 from the NAC club. Good contrast of ages here. Sarah McCracken's 24, she's in 5. Olivia Miskelly and Fogarty, Burns and McDade across the pool. Just gone past the 25 metre mark, and looks like it's Brown and McCracken together. Brown has got about the length of her shoulders lead as they head down towards the first 50. Just the 2 lengths of the pool, obviously. McCracken has it at 25.28. Brown in second place and Ryan is third.
Yeah, I think Brown has a very strong stroke coming into that first 50, but I think her turn there, she definitely glided into the turn, so it's going to be difficult trying to gain that momentum back in again. But it looks like it's going to be Brown coming in this final 50 metres. It looks like she's gaining back that pace that she just lost on that turn. So again, looking really strong, kind of has that tight stroke, and she's gaining a lot of distance on each stroke here.
The last couple of metres then, I don't think she's going to be caught. The red hat alongside her is Miss Kelly is up the other side of the pool, but it's got to be lane 4 to take it. It is, yes. It's Kellyanne Brown, McCracken in second place, at 1:15.60. Compares favourably with this morning's heat time of 1:17, so it can only be what's in front of you, or swimming, of course, what's behind you. Kelly Brown wins, McCracken second, and Jane Ryan of Athlone jumps into third to take a bronze medal.
Yeah, there's a strong swim there from Kellyanne Brown. At the start of the race, I was watching her tempo and I thought maybe she's a bit too high and she might struggle to hold on to it in the second 50, but she really held on to it all the way through the race. I'd like to see her rates. I think they were probably very consistent the whole way through, maybe mid to high 40s, which is exactly where you want to be in a 100 breaststroke, and dropped 2 seconds from her heat swim to go from 1:17 to 1:15.6 and take the win in that B final is a really strong swim, and I'm sure she'll be happy doing that in her home pool, the NAC swimmer.
1:15. So that'll take us into our junior final. Again, 10 competitors in this. This could be a lot closer. In fact, Megan Jones of Portmarnock, who's in lane 4, and Ciara Aiken, India, alongside her in lane 5 from ours, posted exactly the same time of 1:16.27 this morning.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a good race between lane 4 and lane 5, so between Megan and Ciara for this junior final. Again, it's a great experience for these swimmers to be able to get back in and do the second swim, and I'm sure as soon as they hop out from this junior final as well, they'll be watching our main competitors coming into that A final as well. We've got Mona McSherry, Ellie McCartney, Niamh Coyne, Olwen Cook, all very strong swimmers in the 100 breaststroke, so nice for them to be able to come back these junior finals, get their swim in, and then use that time to watch our class swimmers in that A final as well.
There's your finalists for this B final. It's great to have a meet that's you've got great expectations, Nick. You know that you see the list of swimmers coming up and you think, yeah, it can go well. We've already got 2 swimmers today through consideration times for the World Championships, and Tom Fadden starting it this morning. It's great to have that feeling that what we're going to watch in the water could be something special.
Yeah, exactly. It's what you want. You want swimmers swimming fast. You want it to be exciting. There's a good crowd here. We've already heard them across the 200 back crawls and the 400 IMs getting excited for the races. And I've no doubt that this A final is going to be the same. I know we've already talked about Mona, but there's so many girls in that race who are looking to try and qualify for something. Niamh Coyne will be looking to qualify for World Championships as well. Ellie McCartney is looking at under 23s. Molly Main is looking at under 23s. Olwen Cook potentially is looking at under 23s. There's a lot of international competitions at stake here in this A final after this junior final, and I think it should be a really good race. I think it's fairly safe to say that Mona will be out on her own, but there's a lot for the rest of the girls up for grabs as well.
It's great to see. We're going to concentrate now on the juniors before that anticipation builds for Mona McSherry. This is the junior final then. And I'll give you the lineup before they hit the water. Give us a chance to talk about the swim. It's Laura Cardosi-Nagy in lane number 0, which is closest to camera. Then you got Louise Hartnett from Laois, 16-year-old in 1. Abril Allende from Trojan in 2. Lucy O'Brien in 3. Megan Jones, fastest qualifier, alongside Ciara Aiken in 4 and 5 respectively. Then A.B. Noble, Dunn, Campbell and Ciara Maher at 9. Away they go for this junior final then. The 2 lengths of the pool. This is the 100 metres breaststroke, and it's the prelude to the big one, the junior final. But there is a national title at stake here in this open meet, and it's a good start from Aiken and from Jones as well in lanes 4 and 5, keeping each other honest. As I mentioned, they're the 2 fastest qualifiers. A 1:16.27 is their fastest time, and they've got about a second ahead of the rest of the field from the morning heat as they hit the 50 metres to go. Not much in it, very little in it, 0.3 of a second between Megan Jones in 4 and Ciara Aiken in 5.
Yeah, it was a very strong start there from Megan Jones. You could see after her dive, she has a very strong pull out, and she's hitting those pull outs. That first stroke, she's hitting them dead on, so she's coming up already ahead of the pack, and you can see this coming into the second 50. She's already taken a good body length ahead of her main competitor there, Ciara, beside her in lane number 5. So it looks like she's going to be posting a strong time. You can still see a good drive on her here coming into the last 10 metres of this event, so as long as she can keep her head down, she can hit that wall dead on. She's already she's going to be posting a very fast time here. I think she's going to finish 1:14.19 for the 17-year-old from Portmarnock. Really strong swim.
That was a 1:14.19, very good indeed. 1:14.19. That would have made an outside lane for the A final, so she'll be pleased with that. Portsmarnock swimmer, Megan Jones. Showed Ciara Aiken a clean pair of heels. Aiken a little bit disappointed saying her time slower than this morning's heat, but Amy Noble from Asgard takes the bronze medal. Nick?
Yeah, brilliant swim there from Megan Jones. I really liked her technique. She really is driving her head down into a really strong, streamlined position. She's able to keep a high tempo throughout the race, but that's all coming from the efficiency she gets with each stroke. She'll be getting out of the pool now and watching this next race because her younger sister Ava Jones from Portmarnock is also racing, and she's looking to try and qualify for EYOF. The two Jones sisters are been swimming really well over the last couple of years for Portmarnock, and they're carrying that into this meet here, so I'm sure there's a bit of healthy competition between the two sisters there as well, but it should be an exciting race coming up. Or no, I think it definitely will be an exciting race coming up across this field, across these 10 swimmers.
You'll be building it up and you'll be trying to knock it down. No, and of course he wasn't. So your expectation is, India, that's going to see for the first time ever a 105.
That's what I would absolutely love to see coming up here in this 100-meter breaststroke. Again, we've seen Mona swim this morning. We know that she's on form. She's looking really strong. She's pretty much gliding. And like Nick said, to take 17 strokes on the first 50 of a 100-meter breaststroke, it definitely looks like she knows how to grasp that water, and she's got that kind of strength behind her at the moment. So to be able to see a 105 being swum at the Irish Open Championships, it would be absolutely phenomenal, spectacular swim.
Yeah, it's a very technical stroke, isn't it? Of course, the breaststroke. You know yourself well, Nick. You've heard anecdotally down the years, especially in the 200, is try and keep the stroke as long as you possibly can. Don't foreshorten it because you start to spin in the water, and you start spinning, you start going backwards basically. But in a 100, it's kind of slightly different as well, I suppose. But 17 strokes for the first 50, that's phenomenal. Yeah,
it's so efficient. Like, there's not many girls in the world who are able to go at 66 going out in 17 strokes. You'll see the difference now between Niamh and Mona. Niamh has a much higher tempo, much higher rate, and will be probably 20-21 strokes in the first 50, coming back in at 24-25 strokes, whereas Mona went 17-22 this morning. Just because she did that this morning doesn't necessarily mean she'll do it the same. I've seen her swimming where she's gone out hard as well and tried to hold on, so depending on what way Mona's going to plan for this final, she could increase that rate, but having the ability to swim 17 strokes, go out 31.8 is so impressive, and it just bodes so well for this race. But it also bodes well for her 200, which I know she's starting to take more seriously in the last couple of years, where she would have predominantly been a 100 breaststroker. Now she wants to compete internationally in that 200. So really exciting times for Mona, and I think that 66 barrier could be under real threat here tonight for Mona.
So this is the lineup, then I'll give it to you again before they hit the water, because we want to concentrate on the race itself. It's got Niamh Connery of Shark at 15 years of age out in lane 0. This is closest to camera, working across the pool. Emer Doyle, the 22-year-old from Limerick, in lane number 1, making a bit of a comeback. Molly Main, lane number 2, the 18-year-old from Temple Oak. Then Ellie McCartney, the 18-year-old from Ards. Then Mona, fastest qualifier of a 106.49 this morning, 23 years of age. Marlins by way of Tennessee University in Sligo. Then Niamh Coyne, no slouch herself, she's in 5. Olwen Cook in 6. Ava Jones in 7. Beth Gardner in 8. Isabel Kidney, Sunday's Well, the 17-year-olds at lane number 9. Just the 2 lengths of the pool. And as is her want, Mona McSherry is the last one down. She doesn't just do this in national or open meets, I can tell you folks. She does that at international level, did it at the Olympic Games, frightened the life out of us as well when she does it. She's in the red cap in the middle of the pool in lane number 4. Alongside her is Niamh Coyne and Ellie McCartney also there as they head down towards the first 50. It is going to be all about the clock and Mona McSherry, one would think. 17 strokes it normally takes her from diving into the water to hitting the wall. A 31.78 for Mona McSherry leads them through. Niamh Coyne in second place, 32.33. Then it's Ellie McCartney in third. But this, quickly, India, is all about the clock.
It's all about clock now. You could see before a race, Mona McSherry is really pumped up for this race, and you can see she's really starting to pick up that stroke rate. She's going in for this drive. I think she was a little bit slower than the first 50 of her heat sim as well, but she's starting to drive in now.
106.29 is the Irish senior record. India predicted a 105. Is she going to get close to that? 106.04. Not quite the 105 we were hoping for, but it's still a new Irish senior record and a smile of delight from Mona McSharry. I don't know what you'd be thinking about. We didn't quite make the 105, which we'd be hoping for, but we do have an Irish senior record. She's already pre-qualified for the Worlds, where she can make the consideration time for the Olympic Games in Paris next year. So McSharry wins at a 106.04. Coyne in second, Ellie McCartney, and a good swim for her into third place. But what do you think she'll be feeling, Nick?
I think she'll be happy with that. I think she's happy. I think anytime you break an Irish senior record, anytime you improve your time, you drop 0.2, it's hard to do that. So I think Mona will be really, really happy with that. She has the summer to go 65. She's a big race swimmer. She likes the big environments. She likes racing against the best in the world. She likes challenging herself against that. And what better time than at World Championships to go 65? But to go 66.0 there is really, really impressive. And again, she was 17 strokes out. She was 31.7, which was 0.1 quicker. She came off the wall. She held her strokes for about 2-3 strokes, and then she started to build the rate. And you could really see the pop on that second 50. Technically, she's so good. Physically, she's so strong. What a talent we have in Mona McSharry there, and I'm really looking forward to watching her racing this summer. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what she can do in the 200 based off how efficiently and strong she swam that race there.
Yeah, she does look strong, doesn't she? Look at the shoulders on that. She's obviously done a lot of land work as well. Very beneficial for a stroke like the breaststroke as well. Obviously, it's a very technical stroke, India, but yeah, you were hoping for a 105 yourself. What's your thoughts?
I know I was hoping for 105, but I'm not in the pool swimming, so no, it was a fantastic swim from Mona there. And as
it's
you
great
can
to
see,
be a hurler from the ditch, isn't
absolutely,
it?
yeah. No, she's you can see she's happy with that swim as well, and you know she's on form here coming into this Irish Open Championships. Like we said, you know she was her own competitor there. She, you know, she's dominating the field. So like Nick said, she likes a big swim. She likes to be competitive with these world-class swimmers as well. So I think you know kind of these summer events, she's going to be smashing that 106, no doubt.
Great finish that too as well. Spotted it beautifully, and that's the difference between, you know, a 106.4 and a 106.7. You know, it's just that last lunge. If you don't make it right, you know, you could lose quite a considerable amount of time. It's that tight.
Absolutely, it's a very technical race, and as you can see, you know what Nick was saying earlier, she's only taking 17 strokes on that first 50, but even the last 3 strokes into the turn, that stroke rate started to pick up. So she clearly is a very experienced swimmer. She knows exactly what she needs to do to hit the walls dead on. So I think she'll know the difference between, you know, getting that 106.0 to 106.5. She definitely knows how to technically swim the race very well.
Word about the others there then, Nick. And Niamh Coyne, she's always been thereabouts, but when you're swimming in the era of Mona McSharry, the second place always seems to be her one, but she's a very good swimmer. Ellie McCartney, a very good third place as well. A word about those two.
Yeah, I think Niamh will be a little bit disappointed with that. I think she will have had her sights set on World Championships. She's been to Worlds before, she's raced at them, but with Mona swimming so fast, you have to have 2 swimmers make the A standard. So Niamh would have had to go 107.3, which would have been a big ask. But that is a consideration time for under 23s. So Niamh will have a major international in the summer, and that's really, really strong swimming from Ellie. She's only 18. She's a real talent coming through in a very stacked field. We have a lot of women's breaststroke. I think that's probably one of the races we're going to see over the whole week. So really, really strong swimming from all of those girls, and looking forward to the 200 breaststroke where they'll all go at it again.
We're just going to move on to the 2-swimmer final. Paralympic swimmers. We have our own Paralympic medalist in Nicole Turner in lane number 4, 21 years of age, now seems to be around forever. And Derval O'Brady from Limavady, the 16-year-old in the blue cap, just above her. This will give a little boost, won't it, of course, to Derval to be swimming alongside Nicole.
Yeah, definitely. Again, you want to race against your idols. I'm sure Derval will have been looking at Nicole win her medals at Paralympics, and now to stand in the lane beside her, stand on the blocks, get in and race 100 breaststroke against her, it's just a really, really great experience. We already know that Nicole has met the minimum consideration standard for the Para Worlds, which are in Manchester in August. So this will be really a time trial for Nicole to push herself, see what she can do. They actually were racing over in England a couple of weeks ago at the World Para Series Championships, and strong in-season performances across the board there. So this will be just working on race tactics, working on the processes when you're in hard training, so that when you know you get to those majors, the tactics are there and you just have to execute the best of your ability.
Absolutely. I think Nicole's championship qualification time was a 1:49. That was what she was looking for, but I think she posted faster than that this morning in a 1:46.27. So nice that she's going to get a second swim. And again, like you said before, Dervla Brady being able to swim beside one of her idols, great swim for her as well.
Nicole coming into the finish now with 5 minutes to go. You'll see that red mark there just coming into shot, signifying there's 5 minutes to go. Nicole Turner, the Irish Olympian, multi-medal winner, Europeans, Worlds and Olympics, at a 1:44. Good time. Now, can Dervla Brady, who came in this morning at a 2:07.24, go close to that 2-minute mark? She's coming in herself with 5 minutes to go, trying to post what should be a personal best for her, and she hits the wall now in a time of 2:03.30. 58 for the first 50, slightly slower, 1:06 coming back, but she'll be happy with that, having broken that time of 2:07.24.
Yeah, that's a strong swim for both girls. Again, dropping time from heats to finals. That's what you're doing. They're both in hard training, looking at the summer. So dropping 2 seconds for Nicole and dropping 4 seconds for Dervla is strong swimming. It's all you can really ask for, and they'll go back, analyse their races with their coaches, identify the areas where they can improve on, and then continue to work on them as we head into the summer meets.
And not to be patronising as well either, it's great to see the Paralympians in with the swimmers who are trying to compete for the Worlds and the under-23 championships as well. So these are athletes in their own right. They want to be known as athletes in their own right, and these are two, especially Nicole Turner, Roisin Reen and Ellen Keane, of course, the Olympic champion, have shown us that this is not a hindrance to a life of an athlete. And these two, Turner, Reen and Keane et al. And all the other lads as well have been involved down the years as part of the Irish Paralympic team, and brought us some great joy over the years too, haven't they?
Absolutely.
I mean, I have to say, sorry to interrupt you, but I have to say that one of the greatest meets that I've ever been at was here in 2018 at the European World Para Championships. It was just an absolutely amazing event to be at. And the atmosphere, and for the swimmers in the pool, from the families who sacrificed so much to get them to this particular point, again without being patronising, it was a joy to behold. And we as a collective body, as RTE down the years, have paid a lot of good service to the Paralympians. And in fact, last year we commentated on 140 of the 160 races live at the Paralympic Games in Japan, and that was just amazing to watch. And watching Ellen Keane win her gold medal and the celebrations around with her family was great to be there.
Absolutely. No, it is incredible. And again, like, they are athletes in their own right, as in they literally have the exact same busy programs that any other athlete would have. So like Nick was saying, they were just competing a couple of weeks ago in England, and now they're coming in at another 5-day meet for them here as well. So they're training just as tough. But no, again, amazing swims from the two girls there. So really, really impressive to be going faster in the final swim to their heat swims this morning.
They have a very good coach in Dave Malone, don't they? Dave, an Olympic medalist himself from Sydney back in 2000. He's still involved. Good friend of mine, Dave. I've known him a long time. And he really puts these swimmers through their paces as well. And he's a good influence on them too.
Absolutely. Dave is probably one of the most approachable coaches, to be honest, on this pool bank. He has a word for every single swimmer. So I'd say there isn't a swimmer on this pool bank that doesn't know Dave Malone, to be honest. So, you know, he's an incredible coach for these girls.
Yeah, I can completely echo that. Like, every time I see him, there's a big smile and a good chat. He's a really good guy and really, really knowledgeable coach as well. I had the opportunity to work with him. I was in the water, obviously he was working with me and other athletes at one of the national camps here in the Aquatic Centre at one point, and a wealth of knowledge, technically so good, and is doing an amazing job with the NAC club, and there's a lot of the para athletes are based out of there as well. So really, really strong programme, and it's really exciting for them heading to the World Championships in Manchester in August. It'll be exciting to see how they can get on. We've had a lot of success, as you mentioned, John, across the years in the paras with Ellen, Nicole, so looking for them to continue that success at Worlds this year. Yeah,
Roisin Reen has burst through at a 16-year-old as well. So next event now is the men's 100 metres freestyle. Again, a B, junior and A final. This is the blue ribbon really of any meet, the 100 free. Everybody who wants to win this, that's where you get a lot of people involved in heats. It's obviously the biggest entries we get. Men's and women's is the 100 free, and here they come for this junior final. Shane Ryan is not involved in this. He's the Irish record holder at 48.68. Jerry Quinn is the junior record holder. He too is not involved here. That's a 50 flat. Shane Ryan holds that meet record of 48.68. But we had a very unusual thing this morning, didn't we? In Tom Fannin, a 25-year-old, swam for Britain at one stage, 2018 Commonwealth Games. He's now declared for Ireland. First Irish swimmer under the 22 seconds. He just went out hard and fast for the 50 and didn't swim the rest of the race, basically just swam down. So he's not in the final. So that's slightly unusual, but we've seen it in the past, haven't we?
No, absolutely, but we're still seeing that Tom Fannin is definitely on form to be able to be the first swimmer to break that 22-second mark with a 21.9. And yeah, he did turn and he finished on a 60 flat, so he's not making the final this evening. But same with Callum Bain as well, the two swimmers. We nearly had Dave Thompson jumping out of his seat doing the commentary this morning, 100 freestyle being one of his favourite events. So no, it was a really, really interesting race to watch this morning.
Here we go then for the 100 metres freestyle B final. Ten swimmers, John Mulholland 0, close to the camera, working across. Isaac Fitzmaurice, Jamie Allison, Max Upton of Loughborough, one of the visiting clubs. Aer Lingus Sam Winston is in lane 4, Aidan Cook, then Brogan McGavney, Finlay Wright is in 7, we've got Paul Cook in 8, and Michael Keogh is in lane number 9. First 50 of the 100 central lanes of the call so far. It's not much between them though. Sam Winston leads Nick 25.14.
Yeah, it's a strong first 50 there from Sam Winston. He looks quite efficient. He's got a nice rhythm. He's breathing every 4. It's so important in that 100 freestyle to establish your breathing pattern early and then be consistent with it, because you need to make sure you're getting enough oxygen to finish the race. But Sam Winston looks really good here.
Good race, 5 to go. No, there's not going to be much between these two. Lanes 3 and 4. Winston takes it. Oh, not much in that. 0.18 of a second, 1/7 of a second between those two. Hard finish there from Max Upton. The two Loughborough swimmers, 2 and 3, but they couldn't catch our overall winner, Sam Winston.
Really impressive there from Sam Winston. Upton was catching him. I thought he might actually take him the last 5 metres, but Winston put his head down. He went to straight arm freestyle for that last 5 metres, and that's what got the win. If you watch the world class 100 freestylers, you watch Duncan Scott and those boys who are training out of Stirling, they all do that on that last 5 metres. Head down, turn to straight arm freestyle, get your hand on the wall as fast as you can, however you can, and that's what Sam Winston did there to get the win in that B final.
Just a blink of an eye between those front two, India.
Yeah, we know here, we can see him on screen now. Sam Winston's a very tall lad, so he knows he just needs to gain that distance per stroke to get his hand on the wall first. We know that he's been a strong junior swimmer coming up through now, so he's 21 years of age. He's swimming with the National Centre Limerick, but coming through from it as an Aer Lingus swimmer initially. But again, he paced it really well. He took it out strong, and to be able to go faster than his morning swim was a 52.99. So to bring it down to a 52.8, even a 1/10 of a second on a 100 freestyle is a good drop for Sam Winston there.
I think John Rudd at times used to get some of these boys on a rack and just stretch them a little bit at times. He's tall though, isn't he? And he does have that advantage.
I know he is tall, so you can see that arm reach is a little bit longer than some of the other lads, so that might be that slight advantage to him in these kind of finals, especially.
It's only 1.17 of a second.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Absolutely. That's when the girls get the nail extensions and they start touching the wall as well. So yeah, it's just the slight differences.
I think swimming gives you an unreal perception of what normal height is. I always considered I was average height at 6'1", because you walk around pool deck with the likes of Shane Ryan and Callum Bain, and I'm like, they're all 6'4", 6'5". I'm a relatively small guy, and then you go out into the real world and you go, actually being over 6 foot is relatively tall, just not in swimming terms when you have these 16-year-olds who are 6'3" with wingspans about 2.5 metres long.
Yeah, it's a bit frightening, all right, for us ordinary mortals, that's true. Junior final then. Here they come. So there's a national title up for grabs here. 2 Lisburn swimmers in lanes 4 and 5, Dylan Regest and Adam Colgan, both from Lisburn as I mentioned, posted exactly the same time in the heat this morning, 52.71. The holy grail for these swimmers is that sub 50, isn't it? That's the one they want to get. It was always sub 50 for short course. Now it's long course. Get sub 50. That's the target, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. So, but again, this is the junior final, so even to be able to post a 52-second mark, it's starting to put you on the map here in Irish swimming. But yeah, like you said, John, it's kind of getting down to that 51:50 is what's going to make them probably be considered for, like, say, relays in our international events. But to break a 50-second barrier for a 100-metre freestyle, especially at this age, would be phenomenal. I did watch Dylan Regest this morning. He's definitely looking on form. He looks like he has a busy schedule for himself this meet, but definitely look like he's on form. So 52.71 might be broken here by the 18-year-old.
Well, Lachlan Brophy is closest to camera. He's in lane 0. Then it's Ryan of Cool Mine, Switzer of Dolphin. Gene Smith's in lane 3. Then Regis Colgan, Ben Riddle, Daniel Harvey of Ards. 2 Ards swimmers side by side in lanes 6 and 7. Charlie Cassidy of Dolphin is in lane 8, and Darren Morgan in lane number 9 for Cool Mine, the 17-year-old, as they splash their way up the pool for this first 50 in the 100 junior final for men. Leading is the Lisburn man, Regest, 26.12. In fact, he's not, as Colgan leads, 25.41. Good start, Nick.
Yeah, really good start there from Adam Colgan. Gene Smith in lane 3, the 16-year-old, is also looking really strong, but it does look like that Adam Colgan, the Lisburn swimmer, is going to hold off and get the win here in this 100 freestyle. Let's see if he gets his head down the last 5 metres and what time he can go.
Looks like lane 5 has it, and Adam Colgan gets it in 52.51, and that's a good time. 0.2 of a second quicker than his entry time this morning, so he can only go quicker in the finals, and that's what he's done to take the victory. And Gene Smith of Bangor involved too, but Adam Colgan of Lisburn takes it, and Ben Riddle is in 3rd place. Slightly faster again than the heats this morning, so I'd certainly be happy with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Adam Colgan, great swim there, 52.51. And like I said before, to take off 0.2 of a second on a 100-metre freestyle is not insignificant. I think his teammate, Dylan Regest, would be slightly disappointed with that swim as well. He was looking quite comfortable this morning in the 100-metre front crawl. So to not make the podium beside his teammate, he might be a little bit disappointed. I was surprised by his front crawl stroke, actually. It kind of looked like he wasn't breathing when he was turning his head to the side. His face wasn't really coming out of the water that much. So he definitely fell back a little bit after that first 25. But again, great swim from Adam. Good swim from the 18-year-old of Lisburn City.
Yeah, I got slightly distracted there because I couldn't see Regest, because he was actually falling back quite considerably. Finished a disappointing 60. He won't be happy with that. Something wasn't quite right, I don't think.
Yeah,
No. Yes, sir.
I think you really see the depth of the freestyle here. I think Adam Colgan was one of the only guys in that final to actually swim faster than they did in the heats, which just shows that all of those guys got in this morning, knew they had to give it 100% to even try and make a second swim. Just puts them under that little bit of extra pressure, and then they get into the final and it's kind of a tight race, and it's actually hard to improve on their times. So Adam did really well to take off 0.2, but as you said, I think Dylan will be a bit disappointed. Gene Smith was 0.1 slower than he was this morning. They would have been looking to go into that 53 point. It just shows how competitive the 100 freestyle is and how fast these guys have to go in the morning. They have to expend all of their energy to try and even get back into second swim. So that's a learning curve for these guys to try and keep composed so that they can actually improve on their times from heat to finals.
They're introducing the swimmers out of the Worlds and the Olympic Championships, although you would only have 8 normally in a final. At the Worlds and Olympics we have 10, using all 10 lanes here, which is good to see. It gives the swimmers in the outside lanes a chance to compete in the A final itself. There's going to be Conor Fitzgerald in lane 0. He's closest to camera. You can see him there on the left-hand side, the 17-year-old. Then Thomas Leggett is in 1 from Larne. Finn McKeever, the Olympian, the man from Limerick, is in lane number 2. Swam in the relay in Tokyo. Then we had Matthew Walsh-Hussey from the NACs in 3. Here's your lineup. Dolphins, Max McCusker, 50.33 from this morning, well capable of going below the 50-metre mark. Evan Bailey of New Ross, Robbie Powell of Athlone, the 23-year-old, in 6. Oisin Tebite is in lane number 7 from the local club, the NAC. Cody Dunyon's in number 8, the 19-year-old, and then Dermot Sutton in lane number 9 from Limerick. Ye should be McCuskers.
Yeah, McCusker looked really strong again. He's got a busy schedule, but I know he posted a 50.33 for his heat swim, but he is the only swimmer that has qualified under that 50-second mark, so coming in on 49 low. So I think this race is his. He's looking comfortable. But we have some strong swimmers beside him as well. We've got the likes of Robbie Powell and again Evan Bailey, who's definitely looking on form as well. So looking forward to this 100-metre freestyle A final.
Yeah, Robbie Powell's been under the hairdressers, all right. You can see that shock of white hair under that black cap as he was slapping his chest before he got into the water. Fitzgerald, Leggett, McKeever, Walsh, Hussey, McCusker, Bailey, Powell, Tebbett, Dunyan and Sutton right across the pool. Lane 4 has got the early start. Max McCusker, the fastest qualifier from Dolphin, looking to break that 50-second mark. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the blue ribbon, the men's 100 metres freestyle. The women's equivalent is exactly the same in theirs. What is he turning in? 23.89. That's quick. He's going to be trying to break that 50-second mark, and he's got himself about a body length ahead of the rest of the field. Who's going to come through and try and get close to him? Tebbett 7 is there, also finishing strong in lane 6 is Robbie Powell, but McCusker I think is going to hold on. Lane 3, Walsh Hussey also keeping him honest. What's his time? Well done, Max McCusker. 49.78 seconds, broken that magic mark. 50.33 this morning, he's way under it. Nobody else inside the 50-metre mark, 50-second mark, with Walsh Hussey in second and Robbie Powell getting up to take third. Well, he wanted to break the 50-second mark and he's done it.
Yeah, really, really strong swimming there from Max. To get under that 50-point barrier is always good. He's done it before, his PB's 49.4, but that's a really strong swim from Max. He's over in the States, he trains with Florida State. They're just off the back of the NCAAs. And you could really, really see his collegiate swimming coming through there. He is so strong off the start, off the walls. His underwaters are so powerful, explosive. He really, really maximises those. And he just looks strong in the water. He looks powerful, sitting high in the water and just connected. So really, really strong swimming from Max. We're going to see him back in the pool very, very shortly for this 50 fly, and I think he'll be hard to beat in that as well. So he could be going home today with 2 Irish Open Championships medals.
Yeah, we knew that Max McCusker was going to dominate that field, to be honest. Again, the only swimmer going below that 50-second mark, 49.78, really strong swim. But again, can't take it away from Matthew Walsh Hussey, also taking a good over half a second off that prelim swim, so going to 50.67. And then very, very close race between Evan Bailey and Robbie Powell, only 0.04 of a second between them, but Robbie Powell taking that third position as well. So strong race in the A final of the 100 freestyle. Yeah,
well done, Max. You can't do better than beating the 50-second mark. It took a long time before that 50-second mark was broken. In fact, the Irish junior record in 2016 Jerry Quinn is a 50-second flat, so I don't know if he ever, no, he couldn't have. Maybe he did it when he got to senior level, but especially at junior level he didn't break the 50-second mark. It must have been something that could be etched upon his gravestone.
I remember that 50 point that he did here. He looked so good. I don't actually think he ever went sub 50. Yeah. It's tough to break under that 50-second barrier. It really is one of those linchpin times for any of those 100 freestylers. They want to get under that 50 points, and like you look at the rest of those boys, Matthew Walsh Hussey and Evan Bailey, that'll be their next target. Good swim from Evan, getting under 23 consideration time, but we'll pass over to the presentations now.
Okay, 1500 coming up shortly. We'll leave it for the presentations.
Congratulations, gentlemen. Thank you, Mary, and thank you, gentlemen. We're now going to present the senior medals and some certificates I can see being delivered. Okay, thank you, gentlemen. So we have Liam Custer, Caden McCarthy and Jack Cassin. So a senior bronze medal to Liam Custer of Sunday's Well. Thank you, Liam. Silver medal to Caden McCarthy of National Centre Limerick and Mallow Swans. 2023 Irish champion for men's 400 IM from National Centre Limerick and Dolphin is Jack Cassin. I'm just going to head over here because Jack's now collecting 3 different certificates. I think we have a Irish junior record, an Irish meet record, and also the Irish senior record. So congratulations, Jack. Well done. Okay, we're going to present medals to our junior girls 100-metre breaststrokes. Looking for Isabel Kidney, Niamh Connery and Ava Jones. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and present junior medals for the 100-metre breaststroke women. Mary Hawkney, President, Swim Ireland, presenting bronze to Isabel Kidney of Sundays Well. Well done, Isabel. Silver to Niamh Connery from Shark. Congratulations, Niamh. Unfortunately, Ava Jones from Portmarnock isn't with us, so we'll go ahead with the photographs. Thank you, ladies. We're now going to present senior medals to our 100-metre breaststroke ladies. We have Ellie McCartney, Niamh Coyne and Mona McSharry. So, bronze medal goes to Ellie McCartney from National Centre Ulster and Ards. Congratulations, Ellie. Thank you, Mary Hawkney. Silver medal to Niamh Coyne from National Centre Dublin and Tala. Well done, Niamh. 2023 Irish champion is Mona McSharry, gold medalist from Marlins. I can see a couple more certificates as well. I'm going to suggest that Mona got the Irish senior record here for the 100-metre breaststroke as well as the meet record. So congratulations, Mona. Congratulations, all three of these ladies. That completes the medal presentation. Thank you, Mary Hawkney, Swim Ireland President.
Congratulations there to our medal winners in the 400 IM and the women's 100 breaststroke. And now we move on to the next event, which is, well, it's not actually quite a final. It's the fastest heat of the women's 1500. We were just saying, India, there offline, that we were watching the 3 1500s this morning. So all of these girls will be racing to try and beat the fastest time from this morning. But these are the 10 fastest girls on paper, and you'd expect the winner to come from here. And Grace Hodgins, the Trojan swimmer, she's on form. She won the 400 freestyle yesterday. She's a distance specialist, so the 800 and the 1500 are her main events. She has raced internationally in these events, and I'm sure she's probably the favourite. She is the fastest entry time by about 40 seconds, so expect her to be racing the clock on this and to take home the Irish title.
Absolutely, yes. We have Grace Hodgins. She is the fastest qualifier. She's the only girl here to be going under that 17-minute mark. And like Dave and I were chatting about earlier during the previous three heats, so 1500 very much is kind of taking the race yourself. So it's not really about the competitors beside you. It's swimming your own race, knowing your own tactics, knowing your own pace, etc. So I know Grace is going to be getting into this race, and she knows exactly what pace she needs to be doing. I think her consideration times for some of her summer internationals, so the European under-23s and the European juniors, is just 10 seconds faster than that qualifying time that she has. So 16:50 is probably the time that she's going to be looking for on this 1500 metres, with an entry time of 16:59. So 9 seconds, it sounds like a lot for a lot of other races, but on a 1500 it really is just about half a second per 100 that she really needs to just be improving that pace on. So each 50, I'm sure she knows exactly what split she needs to be hitting. So she'll know the pace herself, she'll know how comfortable she feels when she gets into the water. It's just about keeping that rhythm, getting out, finding that pace in the start, and just trying to hold it for as long as she can throughout this race.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just looking at her splits from her PB. She actually has been swimming really well this year. She went 17.00 in Bangor just a few weeks ago, so she was right on her PB at that meet in Bangor, and she's splitting 33s and 34s like a metronome the whole way through the 1500. So look for her to be splitting 33 mids here if she wants to go that 16:50 time to get herself under the consideration time for European Juniors and potentially the under 23s as well, which are going to be held here in Dublin in August.
Absolutely, and we did have some good swims here this morning on the previous 3 heats of the 1500. Again, it is a grueling event, 1500 metres to be swimming at an Irish Open, so it probably is a wish that they are going heat declared winner, and it's just these fastest girls kind of going in for the last 10. But if we actually want a standstill shot of someone that was shocked for their swim, it was definitely from Clara of Trojan in heat number 2 this morning. She went a good 25 seconds faster than her swim, so it's always nice to get good 1500 swims.
Yeah, you really can take off big chunks of time in a 1500 metre race. It's so long there that if you've improved, as you said, a half a second over each 50, that adds up very, very quickly to a big PB. But for this final, we'll take you to the list of swimmers. We have Amy Dawson, the 17-year-old from Lisburn in lane 0, which is closest to the camera here. We have Grace Cochrane, the 16-year-old from Lurgan in lane 1. We have Skye Austin Burrows from Larne, also a 16-year-old. Then we've got Ella Carroll from NCL Limerick, she's an 18-year-old. Then we already talked about Grace Hodgins, who's the fastest qualifier, the 400 freestyle winner from last night. She's an 18-year-old representing Trojan. In lane 5 we have Rebecca Friel, the runner-up in the 400 freestyle yesterday, teammate of Grace Hodgins, so they'll know each other, having raced and trained with each other every day. They'll know how they want to swim this race, and we'll be looking to push each other on. In lane 6 we have Madison Emmett from Guildford City. She's one of our guest swimmers over at this meet. In lane 7 you've got Hazel Bentley, the 19-year-old from Asgard. In lane 8 you've got Ruth Kelly, 18-year-old again from New Ross. And then in lane 9 it's Jessica Robson, Lisburn City. All of these girls are 19 or younger, so you can see in this 1500 field it's quite a young field, but Grace Hodgins is definitely going to be the class of this field. So once she gets set into her rhythm, we'll see what she can do in this 1500 and see if she can qualify for one of those international meets.
Absolutely. We do have Rebecca Friel taking it off quite strong actually on the first 100 of a 1500 metres. So turning first on that first 50 of a 30.87 and then turning on the first 100 of a 103.82. So we have Grace kind of just resting on her shoulders here. So we don't know whether, they have tactics between the two of them or whether Rebecca Friel just kind of wants to take it out a little bit faster and see if she can maintain that pace on Grace Hodgins. But it's a really strong start from these two Trojan swimmers here. Again, like you said, Nick, they're going to know each tactics. We have the two competitors actually looking away from each other on the way down, so it's probably on the way back they'll be looking at each other, so making sure they're pretty much staying on each other's shoulders. But this first 200 metres is probably where they're going to start settling into their rhythm, settling into those 50 metre paces as well.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's interesting just looking at them on that last 50, technically looking at the differences. You can see Rebecca Friel is using her legs a lot more than Grace Hodgins. She's got a bit of a higher kind of a bounce in her stroke, whereas Grace is really flat, really controlled in the water, really long, really efficient, and I think she's going to take control of this race as we go through this 250 metre mark. But it's the two Trojan girls who are very familiar with each other, having trained with each other all the time, who are leading this out very strongly at the start of this 1500.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're coming up on the 250 mark, so let's just have a look at those splits. So they've been sticking around the 33 mid mark, and now they've kind of just bumped it up to a 34. So again, these girls are going to be settling into their rhythm now for the 1500 metres. Dave and I explained it during the heat swim, so if you weren't listening then, so we do have boards down either end, just down the far end of the pool here, so that is actually counting the number of lengths that these girls have to do within this 1500 metres. So I don't know about you, Nick, but I would have lost count on a 400 metres, let alone a 1500 metres. So these girls will be slightly looking at these boards every now and again, knowing when they need to start picking up that pace, knowing when they need to kick down, and then that lovely sound of the bell on that final 100 metres is where they're really going to enjoy that last 100 metres of the 1500.
Yeah, the bell is like the saviour, knowing that you've only 100 metres to go, but if you pace the race well, you're hoping that last 100 metres of the 1500 you have a little bit of a kick left. And the best example of that is Daniel Whiffen when he broke that when he broke that European record. He had a real kick on that last 100 metres, and in particular that last 50 metres. So these girls will be looking to settle into their rhythm, find their stroke count, find their pacing, hit it right. It looks like Grace has settled in that 34.0 mark. That's the last 250s were 34.0 for her, so it looks like she's found her rhythm. I think if she wants to go 16:50 and get herself under that consideration time for the European Juniors. She'll have to hold that 34.0 and maybe pick it up a little bit even. But it's a solid start for both these girls. Rebecca Friel is not letting her go away too easily at all, but it's a tough race, the 1500, and they have to be really, really fit, really aerobically strong. So really hats off to anyone who's done a 1500. Have you ever actually done one, India?
To be honest, I've never done a 1500. The max I did was an 800 metre front crawl, and that was enough for me. So never tried the 1500 metres. But strong start there, yeah. 4:28 turning on that 400 metre mark. So, you know, Grace Hodgins is looking really strong. I'm sure she came into this event knowing that she was probably going to have to dominate this field and swim her own race. And like you were talking about before, you know, we have Daniel Whiffen breaking that European record, coming in really strong on that last 100. I think Dave and I were comparing him to Sun Yang back in the 2008 Olympics, 2012, where I've never seen someone come back so strong on a 1500. It looked like he was sprinting a 50 metre freestyle race instead. But again, Grace knows exactly what she needs to do. She needs to maintain this pace. She needs to swim her own race. Again, turning there in a 33.98, so still sticking within that 33 to 34 low. So yeah, she's looking really strong coming into this swim.
Yeah, that's a really a good point of comparison there to Sun Yang, but hopefully the comparison stopped there because Sun Yang has had his troubles outside the pool.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it's actually really interesting when you watch those major internationals and you watch the world record lines that they show up on the screen. Whenever anyone is swimming the 1500, it looks like they're on pace for that world record, and then all of a sudden the line takes off on that last 100 metres because it was a 54 point for Sun Yang, which is just unbelievable at the end of a 1500. That's the kind of time you'd be doing the second 100 of a 200, never mind a 1500. So unbelievably fast last 100, and Daniel Whiffen is in that kind of mould. He has that little kick, that energy where it really drops. He did it in the 400 freestyle at Commonwealth Games. There was a 27 point on that last 50, which got him at 3:46, breaking the Irish senior record, and he just missed out on a medal, a bronze medal at that Commonwealth Games last summer in Birmingham. But we have Grace Hodgins, as you said, she was at 33 points the last 50. She's 34.3 right there, so she's in and around that time that she's consistently holding for the last couple of 50s. So she's really settled into her stroke here, settled into her rhythm. Technically she's really, really good, India. She's like long out in front, she's efficient, she's not wasting energy, she's really low with her breathing, not lifting her head up, so it means that her hips stay high in the water, and just a really, really good body position. So any young distance swimmers out there watching, Grace Hodgins' technique is really, really good here, and something worth looking at.
Absolutely, and like you said, so she's obviously very strong with that stroke underneath because she's not really using that leg kick behind her. She's kind of using those legs more for balance as she's coming in for this 1500. I think she's probably coming up, no, not even at the halfway point yet, so they still have a while to go. What about yourself, Nick? I know you're a breaststroke specialist. Did you ever give a 1500 metre a go yourself?
I did it once, and I decided that once was definitely enough. Yeah, not an event for me. It's just tough. It's really tough as well. You have to be so switched on the whole way through the race. You've got 15 to 20 minutes, depending on how fast you're swimming, of just focus. You do find when you're swimming it actually goes by very quickly because you're so focused just on the next 50, right? What do I need to do here? What do I need to do in the next 50? Executing each specific part of the race and your stroke and your breathing, making sure you're consistent with it. But once was definitely enough for me for the 1500, and I don't envy the guys who do it. I don't envy the training that they have to do for it as well. It's a lot of volume, a lot of work. There's nothing pretty about it. It's just consistency, and my hat's off to any of those distance swimmers. I was actually lucky enough to be on an altitude training camp before in 2019, and we were there with the Italian team, and Paltrinieri was there, and we just watched him swim up and down so consistently for so long. They were playing opera music for 2 hours where he just swam up and down at an incredibly fast pace, and you're just like, that's unbelievably talented, but I wouldn't want to do it in a million years.
No, absolutely not. David Thompson, the commentator from this morning, and I were chatting about that as well, and it is very different for some of these endurance swimmers compared to our sprinters, kind of what program they have over the 5-day meet. So they may have their specialists being the 400, the 800 and the 1500, and the amount of meters that they actually clock up within just the 5 days as well. It's a completely different program for those sprinters as well. So for them, their warm-ups might be that little bit longer. So sprinters maybe around 1500 to 2k, but for the distance swimmers, their warm-ups might just be that little bit longer. Swim downs might be that little bit longer. So they could actually be clocking up anywhere between, if they have morning swims and evening swims, anywhere between like 8 and 10 kilometres in the day. So trying to manage that fatigue throughout the entire 5 days is very important for these endurance athletes as well.
Yeah, it's so important because it has a real impact on your taper as well. If you know that over a 5-day meet you're swimming a 1500, you're swimming an 800, and at a major competition you could be swimming them twice, you'll have a heat of the 1500 and you'll have a final the next day, and the same for the 800. That means that over a 5-day meet you could be still clocking up a very decent week worth of mileage, which has a huge impact on your taper, because you can't have your taper lower mileage than what you're actually going to be doing in the race, because then the racing week seems like it's training again. So it really does have a huge impact, looking at schedules, looking at your planning for your taper, and planning out from that the big weeks that you do in training. So it has added another complexity to the distance swimmers program. We've obviously added the 800 in for men as an Olympic event now, and we've added the 1500 as an Olympic event for women. So all of these distance swimmers have all of a sudden added another big event to their schedules, which definitely is a challenge, but it's also an opportunity. We saw Daniel Whiffen, because the 800 was actually what he qualified for the Tokyo 2021 Olympics, and that was because the event was opened up and is now an Olympic event for men, just as this 1500 is now an Olympic event for women.
Absolutely, yeah. So we know that all these swimmers here, they have to have absolutely everything on point when they're coming in for these competitions, particularly these endurance swimmers. But just returning back to the pool quickly, we again still have Grace in the lead. So Grace Hodgins of Trojan, the 18-year-old swimmer, again, her entry time 16:59.72. So coming up to this next 50, we'll have a quick look at her splits, but again we're going to have about 11 lengths left down in the pool, so they still have a decent amount to go, but she really looks like she's maintaining that pace quite well. Like you spoke about before there, Nick, she's really settled into her rhythm. She's breathing every two, still again sticking with a really strong 50 pace, so 34.19. I think she is going to be looking in for a good time here, so as long as she can maintain this pace kind of coming into this last, say, 400 metres, she's going to, definitely clock, well, hopefully she clocks that under 23 European qualification or consideration time.
Yeah, really, really strong swimming. I'm always impressed at the pacing ability of Grace Hodgins. I remember when we were at this competition this time last year and we were commentating on this race, I was watching her splits just like we are today, going through, and she is literally like a metronome as she swims through. She is so consistent. She was so consistent with her splits last night in the 400 freestyle. It's not an easy thing to do. I know when I did it, my splits were all, when I did swim that 1500, my splits were all over the place, up and down like a yo-yo. So to actually be able to swim consistently is a real skill, and it's something that she obviously works really hard on in training and is constantly working to nail down that race pace, all of the skills, all of the variables, her stroke counts, everything, her breathing has to be on point, and she's doing a really good job here in this 1500 after 1,050 metres.
Yeah, so 2/3 of the race done now, so she's just turned at 1,050 mark, so slightly slower pace just for that 50, so she was kind of hitting 34 lows, and now she's picked it up to 34 mid, so 34.62. So this is where she doesn't need to turn off. She needs to make sure she's switched on. I know, again, she is swimming her own race. She's probably going to overlap these swimmers kind of on the outside lanes, but she needs to make sure that she's still sticking to that own pace, she's still sticking to her own race tactics. And again, 400 metres to go. Let's just have a quick look at this pace time now, and hopefully we can get a bit of atmosphere coming into the NAC to really bring her home for this qualification time. Again, 34.19, really strong. Again, she's back down to that kind of 34 low, so let's hope that she sticks with that, and we will hopefully be looking at that qualification time soon.
Yeah, it's really strong swimming here from Grace. A lot of the 1500 swimmers will chunk their race, so they'll take it, right, I'll take the first 500 metres, settle into my rhythm, work through it, and then that middle 500 where you're like, okay, now I just need to stay consistent, stay diligent on all my variables, stay on my breathing, stay on my stroke count, stay on my rates, and stay on my turns. We haven't really mentioned the turns. I know the 1500 is a long race and there's a lot of swimming, but you still need to be so technically good off the walls, and we really saw that with Daniel Whiffen when he broke that European record in the 800, and obviously swam a really strong 1500 short course. You have to be really good on those turns. You have to carry that momentum, not waste any of that speed off the turns, carry it into the swimming, and just keep driving forward all the time. So as Grace approaches the turn here, we'll see what her split is. She's been really consistent the whole way through with those 34 lows. Let's see, she's turning here with another 34.4, so she's staying right in that range with 300 metres to go.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're starting to see just a slight increase on her 50s on the way down the pool, so kind of going 34 highs and then bringing it back down. So she's kind of negative splitting these 100s, so bringing it back down to a 34 low. So she is coming into the final 300 metres of this race, so I know the lactic acid is definitely starting to build up. Those arms are probably starting to hurt, but hopefully we can start to see. So again, 250 metres to go. hopefully we'll start to see that leg kick really start to kick in now. So she has just been kind of using those legs for balance behind at the moment. So hopefully we can see a little bit of a kick down for this last 250 metres.
Yeah, you can see there she's taking a breath straight away off the wall. I'm sure her coach would have spoken to her, probably like her to take one stroke before she breathes, but in a 1500 you just want oxygen, so I don't blame her for taking that breath, but that's definitely something that she could look to work on heading into the summer. But she's been the class of this field from the very start almost. I know Rebecca Friel led out at 100 metres, but from then Grace Hodgins has taken over and she's turning now here in a 14:44. So really, really strong swimming from Grace Hodgins now with 200 metres to go.
Yeah, and we know that there are kind of clubs around the Dublin area that are probably, I guess, more specific to endurance swimming as well. So we have the likes of Aer Lingus, you know, we had Andrew Megan coming from there, we had Conor Turner, so we know that their endurance programme is quite strong, and we have started to notice that Trojan are definitely starting to pick up on those endurance athletes as well. So we do have these two main Trojan swimmers kind of taking lane 4 and lane 5, but again, Grace Hodgins in the lead. She is turning on her last 150 metres, so hopefully she really can just kick down. Again, she is swimming her own race, so again, let's try and get some atmosphere behind her here in the NAC, hopefully, and we can really start to bring her home.
Yeah, 34.8, so she's just dropping off a little bit from her pace that she had said earlier, which was 34 lows. She's a little bit 34 highs now, but still going to be a strong swim here from the young Trojan swimmer. It's always difficult when you're watching a 1500 because the swimmers are so spread out. Like Grace has lapped a few of the swimmers and she's coming up on the swimmer in lane 2 and the swimmer in lane 8 right now as well. So it's really important for these swimmers as they hear the bell to just focus on their race, go to the legs and see what she has left on this last 100 metres.
Yeah, so we've just heard the saviour bell there for Grace Hodgins, so she is coming in to the last 100 metres here, so she just turned on a 15:53 again, so her time 1:16:59. She's going to need to clock at least a 1:05 here for her last 100 if she wants to be breaking that PB time anyway, so 16:50 might just be a little bit out of her reach, but again, hopefully we can get Andrew Megan on our live commentator down in the bank. She might be able to get the crowd going here for this last 50 metres, but again, really strong swim so far from Grace. She's going to turn here now on this last 50, again still clocking at 34:84, so yeah, we just need to bring her home now, don't we, Nick?
Yeah, absolutely. She's going to her legs now, but she's probably going to swim or over 17 minutes here for this 1500. But it's a tough race to do this on your own. But with 25 metres to go, we'll see if she goes to her legs and what she has left in the tank at this stage.
Absolutely. So coming into these final few strokes here for Grace, she has picked up the stroke rate slightly. She has started to kick down. I think we are going to be over that qualifying time, so just slightly over anyway. So we're finishing in a 17:01:22. But again, really strong swim there from Grace. I don't know how happy she'll be, but to be able to swim 1500 on your own, she should be proud of that in an Irish Open Championships.
Yeah, it's tough to do that on your own. A 32.7 last 50 is a strong last 50. She had a little bit left in the tank, but I'm sure she will have been hoping to go sub 17 minutes there on that 1500, so might be a little bit disappointed, but that's a tough race to do on your own. As her clubmate Rebecca Friel looks like she's coming in now with 15 metres to go, and she's going to take the silver medal in this 1500 freestyle. So we'll have the two Trojan swimmers, first and second, on the podium later on. So strong swimming for both those girls here.
Absolutely, it definitely does. It looks like it's starting to hurt there on Rebecca Friel, but again, 17:44:06. So again, just slightly above that qualification time. Again, it looks like 4 seconds, but 4 seconds over 1500 isn't insignificant. And then lane number 6 is taking third, so Madison Eminent. So again, her qualifying time of an 18:01:93. And she's coming on a 17:53:91, so I'm sure that will be a good swim and she'll be happy with that swim there, breaking the 18-minute barrier for Madison Eminent.
Yeah, so Madison Emmett is one of our guest swimmers from Guildford, so she will get a commemorative medal, and Ella Carroll, the 18-year-old from swimming from the National Centre in Limerick, will get the bronze in that 1500 for this Irish Open Championship. So strong swimming from the three girls, and we have two swimmers in lane 0. We've got Amy Dawson from Lisburn and Hazel Bentley from Asgard are just finishing now at 15 metres to go. The two girls are very close to each other, so we'll see who gets the touch here between the two of them.
Yeah, Yeah, so our final 2 swimmers just coming in to touch the wall. So again, really strong swim from all the girls there. 1500 metres is nothing to be sniffed at. It's a very difficult race to come into an Irish Open and to swim. So I'm sure they'll all be hopping into the swim down pool and just relaxing on their backs for a while before they start swimming again. But again, really strong swim. So we're going to have a completely different change of event now. So we've gone from a 1500 right down to a sprint event. We've got a splash and dash coming up next. We've got the men's 50 metre butterfly. Nick, who do you think you have your money on here?
I think we're going to have Max McCusker is going to double up from his 100 freestyle just before that 1500. And I think Evan Bailey, who's also in that 100 freestyle, will also be looking to get in the mix for the medals. Those boys will be straight into the swim down after that 100 freestyle. They know they'll have about 20 minutes with that 1500 in between, so they will have swam for maybe 400 or 500 meters, got changed again, stayed warm, had a little bit of fuel, and then get ready for this, as you said, splash and dash in this 50 fly. I was really, really impressed with Max's underwater work this morning off that dive. He's so explosive to 15 meters, he's so fast. That short course yard swimming is really, really standing to him, so looking forward to seeing what he can do in this. And he's also the Irish senior record holder in this event, 23.44, which he did at this meet last year. We'll see if he's in the same form that he could go that again or go close to that today. He looked comfortable this morning. He was breathing into the last wall, so there's definitely more from him, depending on how recovered he feels after that 100 freestyle.
Yeah, I think we do have a dominant figure here in Max McCusker in this A final. So we do have 3 finals to get through. But again, Max McCusker, like you talked about, his underwater work there. I don't know if you remember his short course 400 metre IM, that absolute phenomenal swim back in December at the short course season. So like you said, he definitely does technically have very, very good swims. So again, he just needs to use that to his advantage, put his head down, try not to breathe on that 50 metres. And hopefully we might get close to that Irish senior record that he set himself back in 2022, April, this time last year, pretty much.
Yeah, and like it's clear across all the strokes that skills pay the bills. Like, and Max McCusker's a perfect example of that. Really, really good technically around the walls, underwater, off the start, and he's got an Irish senior record on that 50 fly. He's right up there in that 100 freestyle. He's made international teams, and he's going to have an exciting summer. But first up, we have the B final of this men's 50 fly, and we'll quickly run through the names. We have Matthew Moan from Banbridge in lane 0, Conor Lanigan from Trident in 1, Keane Mason from the Kingdom in 2, Alex McMullen from Lisburn in 3, Finlay Wright from Banbridge in 4, Thomas O'Neill representing the National Aquatic Centre in 5. We've got Anthony Maher, the 22-year-old from Sligo in lane 6. Ali Rayan, the cool mind swimmer, we've seen him already earlier on this week, so see what he can do in lane 7. Ethan Lorenz from Bluefin in 8, and Ryan Griffin in lane 9 from Cookstown.
Okay, so we've got our B final up on the blocks, just ready, waiting for their start. And again, like we said, Nick, it is just a splash and dash, so it's less than a second separating this entire field. And again, it's kind of just focusing on those technical works, but we have got a strong start there from lane number 4, our fastest qualifier, Finlay Wright of Banbridge, coming in on a 26.46. He's looking like he is going to dominate this race. Really, really strong start as we come into these final 10 metres. And again, hopefully he could just hit the wall dead on here. And he does, 25.83, breaking that 26-second mark for the B final. That's a very strong swim.
Yeah, really strong swim from Finlay there. I had a little bit of an inhale of breath there, just the last 5 metres. He breathed right into that last stroke. I'd like to see him keep his head down and get his hand on the wall, because he probably would have been a little bit quicker there if he hadn't took that last stroke and if he hadn't taken a breath there. But as you said, to get under that 26.4, the 19-year-old from Banbridge is a really strong swim. So fair play to him there, good swim.
Absolutely, and that 25 would have actually brought him into the A final there as well. So definitely a bit of a confidence boost. I know it's great to have a final swim, but a bit of a confidence boost as we go through this long course season for himself as well.
Yeah, definitely. I know, India, this would have been one of your favourite events when you were racing. So what would you be thinking of lining up for the blocks? What would be your cues? What would you be focusing on as you're getting ready to race this 50 fly splash and dash?
50 fly, it's literally get as much oxygen into your lungs as possible before you swim a 50 fly, and then just put your head down. It's pretty similar enough to a 50 freestyle, but I guess fly just a little bit more technical. So Dave and I were chatting about it earlier. I know you need to have strong shoulders and strong lats when you're swimming fly, but it actually comes a lot from that hip drive and comes a lot from that undulation as well. So like you said before, you kind of need to see their hips breaking the surface of the water. You know that swimmers are swimming well when you can see their hips breaking that surface of the water. So really focusing on that hip drive down, the chest drive down on the main stroke, and then getting those hips up and kind of going into that hamstring strength like your underwaters as well, and just carrying that through your 50 metres too.
Yeah, really interesting. And On the fly, would you have a set on the 50 fly? I know in the 50 freestyle sprinters will have they'll breathe maybe once or twice in that 50 freestyle, or maybe no breaths at all. Would you know in a 50 fly, right, I'm going to breathe at 20 meters, then I'm going to breathe at 35, and then once before the finish, or did you have a specific breathing tactic when you were racing?
So personally myself, I didn't take a breath on the 50 fly either, so it was pretty much just put your head down. So again, you probably would have seen me on the blocks taking as many deep inhales as possible. I was similar to Mona McSharry as well, so I stood tall before my actual dive, so I was waiting for the take your mark, so I was still able to continue to kind of take those deep breaths. There was no constriction on my lungs, so as soon as there was a take your marks, I was down and just head down and kind of sprinted to the wall. But yeah, majority of people, if we were training them and they're not used to that kind of lung capacity, I guess, on the 50 meter sprint, I would usually try and say that they need to get at least to the 25, kind of maintaining that rhythm. Obviously, the more you lift your head when it comes to fly, the more resistance is going to hit your chest, so the less breath you can take on the 50 fly is definitely to your advantage. But again, we do have two different styles of breathing as well on fly. You've got breathing to the front and you've got breathing to the side. I haven't actually seen breathing to the side at this event, but again, both are good for that 50 fly as well.
Yeah, that breathing to the side is all about staying flat in the water and keeping that low profile. You still have that hip drive, but it's staying flat and keeping your trajectory moving forward. So we've got this junior final, and we'll quickly run through the list. We've got Leggett from Larne in 0, Maher's from Banbridge in 1, McLeod in 2, O'Connor in 3, Bird in 4, Shaw in 5, Taggart in 6, Colbert in 7, Owen Trainer from Claremorris in 8, and Adrian Wong, the Trojan swimmer, in 9. So we'll have a look here and see how many breaths these junior swimmers take in the 50 fly.
Again, strong tarts. It would be nice to see those reaction times come up on the board, but again, using that underwater well, we've pretty much got an even field here, so it'll be interesting to see who's going to take the lead after this 25 metre mark. And it looks like we could have some of our outsider lanes. So lane number 3 is looking strong, as is lane number 2, Ewan McLeod from ESB. Really strong finish from these lads now, all these juniors coming in strong. But it looks like it could be lane number 3, yes, Liam O'Connor from Townere taking it in a 26.37. Strong swim from Liam there.
Yeah, Liam was leading from the very start there. He did really good underwater and he looked in control of that race. But I actually thought that your clubmate, or old clubmate, Ewan McLeod, was going to take the win, but he just missed that finish. He had to glide into that finish, allowing Liam O'Connor, the Townere swimmer, to take the win. I was actually watching after you were talking about breaths to see who was breathing, and Liam was breathing, I think he only breathed once in that race, whereas Ewan McLeod was breathing a lot more frequently, taking in that oxygen. So it's interesting on that fly to see what their tactics are. And these are all junior swimmers, so they're learning. They'll always be working away at figuring out what works best for them in terms of breathing, in terms of tactics, in terms of how they want to swim it. So strong swim there from Liam O'Connor taking the win.
We've got a lovely pose from the two lads there, kind of finishing their 50 fly, so really, really strong swim from them both. And again, yeah, I was chatting to Ewan, so he had a rocky start to his competition this weekend. So again, like we talked about before, different environments can really kind of change, can mess with some swimmers. So he has flown over actually from England, that's where he trains. And first night he didn't actually fall asleep until about 4 o'clock in the morning, so rocky start to his competition, but to be able to come back and swim at 26.51 and take the silver medal there in the junior final, so I'm sure he's going to be really happy with that swim.
Yeah, that's really interesting you say about him struggling to sleep. The later on I got in my career, I wouldn't sleep the night before a race. I remember walking around the village at World University Games in Taiwan at 4 o'clock in the morning because I couldn't sleep, and I was like, I can't stop me lying in the bed anymore, so I literally got up. The time difference, it was 4 o'clock back home, so I just rang home, just had a chat literally at 4 o'clock in the morning before my 100 breaststroke. But it's about having that confidence that you've had enough sleep in the weeks leading up to it, that one night's bad sleep isn't going to be detrimental to your race. And I got quite comfortable not sleeping the night before because I knew I had done it before. It didn't prevent me from swimming well. So I think it's something that a lot of athletes can struggle with, but it's just about learning to have coping strategies to deal with it.
Absolutely, because you know yourself physically you are ready for that race, but it's just mentally you need to make sure that you don't panic. You might have had a bad night's sleep, but just get back into that pool. You know that you're strong, you know that you're fit, and you know that you're ready to race.
Absolutely, it's so important. And this is it now. We're on to the last race of the day, the open final of the men's 50 fly. You see the list of swimmers there. We've got Peter Higgins from UCD in 0, Ushin Tibet from NSC in 1, Thomas Leggett from Larne in 2, Sam Winston from NCL Limerick in 3, Max McCusker fresh off winning that 100 freestyle 20 minutes ago representing Dolphin in 4, Evan Bailey, who was also in that 100 freestyle final, in 5, Dylan Regis, the Lisburn swimmer, in 6, Connor Fitzgerald from NCL Limerick in 7, Michal Kyo in 8, and then Dara Morgan from Coolmine in 9.
Again, so we have two swimmers that have just broken that 25-second mark this morning. So we've got Max McCusker, I think he's the clear leader here, 24.05, but we also have Evan Bailey, the only other swimmer to break that 25-second barrier of a 24.99, so 100th of a second faster than his qualifying time. But again, our Irish senior record is 23.44, so let's see how fast or how close Max McCusker can get to that Irish senior record.
I think he's going to be thereabouts. I think he could be 23 mid or maybe a little bit faster, so this should be really exciting. But watch out for his underwaters, watch how quick he gets to 15, pops up and gets straight into his rhythm here.
Again, so strong start there from Max McCusker. Again, like you said, Nick, he's really strong underwater now. He's probably not as fresh coming off that 100 front crawl, but look at that power coming into that first 25. He's looking really strong here.
So powerful coming through with 50 metres to go. He's just taking a breath there. That's his first breath. He's going to get his head down now and see what he can do, but really, really powerful swim here from Max McCusker. Let's see what the time is. 23.97, taking the win there for Max McCusker, going sub 24, improving on his heat swim. That's a really impressive swim, literally 20 minutes after 100 freestyle. That's a tough double. 100 freestyle, you build up a lot of lactic acid, and 20 minutes is not a long time to try and clear it. So a really, really strong swim there from Max McCusker.
Yeah, we know that Max is a bit of a powerhouse there, so to be able to break that 24-second barrier is really strong, especially like you said, Nick, coming off the 100 front crawl. Pretty much all he's had time to do is probably grab a quick drink, probably a small bite to eat, and get straight into a swim down. So he hasn't really had much even breathing space to get ready for that 50 fly, but still to produce a 23.97 and take that A final in the 50 fly, that's a really, really strong swim there from Max.
Absolutely, and again, Evan Bailey the same, 24.7. That's an improvement. 0.2 of an improvement from what he did this morning. Again, backing up from that 100 freestyle as well. So to take time off is really impressive. And Dylan Regis going 25.0 is also 0.2 faster than he was this morning. So really, really strong swimming across the field from those three guys there, and a really, really strong finish to the second final session of this Irish Open. What was your highlight from today, India?
Probably my highlight from today, we've had some amazing swims. So we've had the 200 back, we had John Short going that consideration time for his back roll, but then again, I can't fault that women's 100 breaststroke. That 106 from Mona McSharry was just an absolute phenomenal swim. Again, I know I was saying she could get that 105, but I'm standing up here, she's down there. So yeah, I was really impressed with that women's 100 breaststroke.
Yeah, no, it was a brilliant swim from Mona. Irish senior record, 66.0, so close to that 65 mark is so impressive, and I can't wait to see her 200 off the back of that. Like the way how efficient and strong she was so impressive. And I was also really, like you said, both those 200 backrocks, John Shore, 16-year-old, making a consideration time for Worlds is massive achievement for him, and really bodes well for our backroll future in the country. We've had a lot of pedigree there with Shane and Conor Ferguson, but he's really stepping up to the mark in that 200 back there. And then Maria Godden, his John's teammate there in NCL Limerick, also going 2:12, just off that consideration time for Worlds, but under the consideration time for European under 23s. So really, really strong swimming there. And then that 50 fly final from Max McCusker, double champion. The 100 freestyle 50 fly is no mean feat at these championships. So really, really strong second day of performances.
Absolutely, I'm sure you can agree, Nick. We've had a really strong start to our Irish Open Championship. So first 2 days done and dusted. We still have 3 more days to go, but looking forward to another day. So thank you very much to you all from the Irish Open Champions today. That's myself and Nick done for the evening, but we'll see you again tomorrow.
Just could we have Grace Hodgins, Ella Carroll, please, and Jessica Robson? I can see Ella running. Do we have Jessica Robson and Grace Hodgins, please? And for the boys, Max McCusker, Matthew Walsh-Hussey, Robert Powell, Evan Bailey, Oshin Tebbett, Connor Fitzgerald. I can see the boys turning up. Thank you very much. Okay, we're going to present medals for the 1500 metre freestyle ladies. So can we have Sky, Jessica and Rebecca? Okay, so junior medals will be presented by Mary Hawkney, current Swim Ireland president. We have a bronze junior medal to Sky Austin Burrows of Larne. Congratulations, Sky. Jessica Robson from Lisbon City is not with us at the moment, so we're going to move on to present gold medal to Rebecca Friel of Trojan. Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you, ladies. We're now going to present medals in our senior category. So we're looking for Ella Carroll, Madison Emmons, Rebecca Friel and Grace Hodgins. Okay, so Mary Hawkney's presenting the bronze medal to Ella Carroll of National Centre Limerick and Limerick, and a commemorative medal to Madison Emmons of Guildford City. Thank you, ladies. Mary Hawkney presenting those medals now. Silver medal goes to Rebecca Friel of Trojan. And Irish National Champion 2023 in the 1500 metre freestyle ladies is Grace Hodgins of Trojan. Congratulations, ladies. Thank you. Now presenting junior medals to our 100 metre freestyle men. So we have Connor Fitzgerald, Oshin Tebbett and Evan Bailey. Okay, Mary Hawkney, Swim Ireland president, now presenting a bronze junior medal to Connor Fitzgerald of National Centre Limerick and Limerick. Junior silver medal to Oshin Tebbett of NAC. And junior gold medal to Evan Bailey of New Ross. Thank you, gentlemen. And we'll shortly present our senior medals, Robert Powell, Matthew Walsh-Hussey and Max McCusker. Okay, so the senior medals in the men's 100 freestyle, we have Robert Powell, Matthew Walsh-Hussey and Max McCusker. Okay, so a bronze medal to Robert Powell of National Centre Dublin and Athlone. Thank you, Robbie. Silver to Matthew Walsh-Hussey of the NAC. And 2023 Irish National Champion 100 metre freestyle is Max McCusker of Dolphin. Thank you, Mary Hawkney, Swim Ireland President. We will move on to present medals in the 50 metre butterfly straight away. So we're going to begin with the junior medal category for the 50 metre butterfly men. So Oisin Tebbit, Dylan Registe and Evan Bailey. Oisin, a previous medal winner. Okay, so this is the junior category men's 50 metre butterfly. Mary is going to present medals here. A bronze medal to Oisin Tebbit of the NAC Swim Club. Junior silver to Dylan Registe of Lisbon City. And a junior gold medal to Evan Bailey, New Ross. Photos, boys. Then it's going to be
Dylan,
Max,
Evan and
Dylan. Thank you, gentlemen. Not all of you should leave. We're now going to present gold medals to in the 50 metre butterfly to Dylan, Evan and Max. So thank you, Mary. So this is going to be a bronze medal to Dylan Registe, Lisbon City. Congratulations, Dylan. Silver medal to Evan Bailey, New Ross. And Irish National Champion 2023 for the 50 metre butterfly is Max McCusker of Dolphin. Thank you very much, Mary Hawkney, Swim Ireland President. Thank you, gentlemen. That completes our presentation this evening.